I like to skate. I don't like to sweat. Try Old Spice 30-day challenge, and if you aren't satisfied, we'll give you money back guaranteed.
That's your
something
lines.
like that. But they have me. The lines that I'm delivering is with like full commercial crew in the middle of downtown San Francisco, business district lunchtime. Like it's like super intimidating, incredibly intimidating. Wow. And I'm not an actor, and so I'm having to do these lines. And when they were casting me in the commercial, they sent me like a wish list. Here's what we're thinking. Here's our potential locations. They had the cardio rail.
Oh, what?
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Yeah, the cardio rail.
No way.
That was what they had in mind.
What, to you to skate or just to be in front of?
No, to grind.
All right, we are back, huh? We're back at the 9 Club, everybody. Today, we have a very special guest. Mr. Aaron Snyder is with us. How are you, dude?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me.
Bro, listen, we had Musk on recently. This is kind of a Shortys thing going on. I love it, though. It was one of my favorite videos, dude.
And Maple. And
Oh, no. I'm not discrediting anything that this guy has done. I'm just saying he was in one of my favorite videos growing up. I wanted to ride horses with you guys. I wanted to do all that stuff. But we'll get into all that. But thanks for coming, dude. This is great.
Appreciate it, man.
We used
Thanks
to skate all the time back in the day, dude.
We did.
Back in the day.
Well, how did you guys end up skating? Because did you move to Santa Monica at one point and that's you guys met?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved to West LA basically after the Darkstar
That was after the Darkstar stuff?
Yeah, it was after.
Really?
Yep. It was immediately after. It was basically, well, we'll get to it.
No, but wait a minute. I'm confused. I thought it was, man, my timeline is so off, I guess. Because the Darkstar, when did that end? Roughly.
2004.
2004. Okay.
Yeah.
It makes more sense now.
Yep.
So where were you when the Darkstar was going on?
In Huntington Beach.
You were in HB.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So you had moved there from Wisconsin?
No, I moved to San Diego. So I kind of slowly made my way north to LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're growing up in Wisconsin, I mean, little kid from Wisconsin, you got a picture right here of you in the 80s going off a table. You're not even hauling. You're just riding off that
Oh,
thing.
yeah. That won first place, by the way, back then,
That was first place?
Yeah, that was all it took.
Is that what this was? this trophy right here?
That's right.
From the I mean, how did you even get into skateboarding? Was it big out there, or was there a scene at that point in time? We're talking about late 80s.
Yeah, there was no scene whatsoever. It was, I had 2 older brothers.
Okay.
And they were like, going through the typical BMX, skateboarding, that whole thing. And they had a period where they got into skating, and they ended up building this half pipe in the back, in our backyard. And that was how it started. It was like my earliest memory was just like riding on my butt, like back and forth on this half pipe. It was like the worst half pipe probably ever built.
Are we talking about like a legit half pipe, like with vert? And
It had vert.
Okay.
Too much vert, maybe?
It was
What are the specs?
The specs were all right. So it was made out of half-inch plywood, 4x8s, 4 feet by 8 feet. So the thing was 8 feet wide, made out of those. So it had no actual transition. Every piece that would come together.
The douche.
So it was 10 feet high on one side with a platform that, no coping, but a platform that had just made with another extra piece of plywood.
Okay.
And then 2x4s just stuck into the ground. And then the other side was 13 feet high, no deck whatsoever.
Wow.
Coping?
No coping. No.
The whole thing in no coping. One side had a deck, the other side did not have a deck, and it was right angles.
Yeah.
To-dish.
Yeah, they were friends with the one good skater in town. There was a half pipe a few blocks away from us that was like legit. Like it had a roll in. Like I remember peering like over the fence, like holy shit! Like it looked so crazy. And the dude he was like the local legend there, he came over to like ride my brother's ramp for the first time. And he just like rolled back and forth for like 5 seconds and was like, it sucks. This is terrible. It was like,
I mean, to call it a half pipe is kind of.
it was. There's photos of it. I got a photo of it somewhere. I can show you. It's
but it's not a.
no.
But you're. It's like cool to have at least when you don't know what you're doing. You're like, oh yeah, I can roll back
when
and
you're
forth.
7.
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
Great.
Yeah.
I think when my brothers who were like 8 years older, they put in like a half a summer to build this thing. So they were invested.
Were they dropping in and doing
No.
stuff? No.
I don't think anybody ever dropped in on that half pipe in its entire lifespan.
So what were they doing? They would just do the same thing. You would just go back and forth. They couldn't even.
I think they stopped skating it the day they built it.
Where are they getting this wood? Sounds like an expensive monstrosity that they built.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would assume that my parents helped them somehow with it, but it did end up getting broken down, and then one side was broken down into a quarter pipe that was put in our driveway because they got into BMX biking. But at that point, it was cut down low enough where I could skate it as a quarter pipe.
Oh, perfect.
So it was like, it kind of worked out where my brothers phased out of skating and I was like, this is still super cool. And the ramp is still here. So that was like, yeah.
How old were you at this point when you first started?
I think it was 8.
8 years old.
Yeah. I think it was
And what city did you grow up in?
Green Bay.
Oh, you're in Green Bay.
I'm in Green Bay. Yeah. I was born in Green Bay and lived there until I was, I think, 12, going into 7th grade, and then moved to Madison, which is the capital.
Parents moved?
Yeah.
Did the quarter pipe come with you?
It did not.
No. Okay.
Thankfully. Thankfully, the quarter pipe stayed.
When you moved to Madison, was there a bigger skate scene there?
Much bigger. Yeah.
Okay.
It went from like, a devastating situation because you're like, you're like middle school, 7th grade, right when you're starting to like form a lot of friendships and all of this stuff. So it was at first like, what the hell? And then it ended up being by far the best thing that ever happened to me because obviously like within probably the first month of being there, I met Dave Mayhew, Tyrone Olson, Pete Lehman, and the whole crew. And it was like the world just opened up, It was a total like mind blow of being around all these dudes that were way better than me and older than me.
How was Tyrone?
He was like a superhero.
Still, but I mean, was still as he is now.
He was like
or
a legend, like when he was like 15. Like, dude, it was like he legitimately like he had there. Jumping ahead a little bit, but I remember times when the main spot that we would skate at the Library Mall, it had this handrail. It was like 2 bars wide, and it was perfect. But I mean, still, this is like nobody's skating handrails really. Like maybe board slide, maybe whatever. And he would grind the rail every time, lip slide the rail every time, like no problem. And I remember it was kind of when I first met him, and I was like, "Have you ever 5-0'd the rail?" And he was like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Back truck only." And he was like, "Boom, 5-0, did it first try." And he would do on that same rail. He would do front 180, fakie 50-50 down that rail in like 1991 or 92.
How many stairs did you say?
It was a 5-stair
Okay,
rail,
5 stairs.
but if you saw it, like it was legit. Like it was a good rail.
And so, how old was he at this point, do you think?
Probably 14 or 15.
And you're
like 12.
12?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you know what a 5-0 is and he doesn't? Is he just that like
I think that's just part of his makeup. Like Tyrone, he wasn't really concerned with like the logistics. He was just like, I skate. Tell me what to do. He was just, I'm just going to do it. And I was also like, I had like, oh yeah, that's
this is Madison.
No, yeah, that's Madison.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Madison. That's right. That's pretty much close to right after I moved there.
This is 90s footage of you.
360 flip.
91. Jeez.
The tracking was off.
Yeah,
Dubs.
I remember that was like the holy grail, the impossible, and then the 3 flip in the same line. This was this spot right up the street from my house.
Who's filming you?
Right here, probably Mayhew or
shit.
Maybe Pete Lehman. We would just. Oh, that was.
Who was better at this point?
Mayhew was always the best.
Mayhew was always the best.
Yeah, Mayhew was always the best.
So were you decent by the time you had moved to Madison?
That was nuts.
I was good enough. Like I was good, but dude, it was like a really, really early time. You know, like this is still.
Dude.
That's
Big
look,
flip
look
front
at
nose?
look at
That
Mayhew's
was
look at
sick,
Mayhew's
dude.
shadow. It's all Mayhew's shadow filming. It's
But look at this
if it-
trick. Look, it's almost out of frame, but like still Bigfoot front.
Bigfoot front
dude.
nose is
And then
gnarly.
look at this one.
Fake you flip out.
right
that
away and you count it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this was all Madison.
Okay.
Madison. This is the rail. That's dude. How
That's
about
the
that
rail.
one? What?
Wait. Sorry.
Whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa,
Right,
whoa,
rewind that real
It's
quick.
getting weird right away.
Hold on.
whoa. No slide body
Body
variable.
No
variable.
slide spin out.
That's sick.
Wow.
Dude.
I've never seen that done to this day.
Yeah, I'm not
on a
sure.
rail. On a rail.
I'm not sure if I've seen it either.
Not on a rail.
I don't know if people want
There
to
might
do
be
that
a
either.
reason
Yeah, there's probably a reason why it hasn't been done.
So this is a rail that Tyrone Olson and you guys would
Yep.
skate.
Yeah,
It looks
it is
decently.
it is a perfect
looks-
rail.
yeah.
If that thing was still around today,
I was about to say, is it still
God,
there?
it's so yeah. It is, I think it's still there, but they did so they switched the rail. It's not the same.
Huh.
Is that square?
No, it's two bars. It's two.
wow.
It's
Like
a shotgun rail?
Two round bars right next to each other. It did hook at the end, so you couldn't. You know, it was a
Right.
little limited,
Okay.
but for the most part, it was
That's sick.
it was perfect.
Wow, man. So you said Mayhew was always the best.
When I moved to Madison and met like all of those dudes, Mayhew was definitely like the all around best, and Tyrone was just the dude was like he was just
Crazy.
Yeah, yeah. He
You-
was really.
Look at your little nose
This,
slide.
this footage is pretty insane, actually.
Were you using this for a sponsor me tape at this point?
Yeah, this was for Sponsor Me tapes.
Who were you?
Damn.
Who were you sending it to at this point?
Switching. I think I don't really remember who we were sending them to, but I do remember that when I moved to Madison, I had a video camera, so like that definitely helped sort of get into the group of friends that I eventually did, and through filming each other, I would also edit their Sponsor Me tapes.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was just, I don't know, I forgot the question.
Well, no, I mean, who were you sending these sponsor me tapes to? Who? This was early '90s.
Yeah, this was
so-
early 90s, I think.
World?
Okay, so actually, well, good story. So we sent one, and Dave Mayhew actually got sponsored off of one of them from Small Room. Do you remember that
Room,
company,
yes.
Small Room?
Okay.
Yeah. He was like hooked up. He was like fully on the team. He got on Small Room. I think I sent my video to like all of like H Street and like Life and all of these companies that I had no business sending a sponsor tape to.
I
writing
don't know
for at
though.
that
I mean,
point.
back then you were doing some good tricks.
Yeah, I
Those were
agree.
hard
Like,
tricks,
straight up.
dude.
It was I had lofty ambitions, that's for sure. But
Did you feel like, or maybe you didn't even know at that time, like being in Wisconsin was a huge, not dilemma, but the industry back then was
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
It was, you needed to kind of be out here.
oh, for sure. I think.
But did you realize that?
I don't think any of us realized it. I think it was only kind of years after that we realized that we were one of the first like crews that came from outside of California that were like, hey, let's go to California and like take a stab at making it in the skate industry. It didn't really happen a lot before. Like I remember like right on the heels was like Deerdick moved out and there was the Alien House and then Tyrone, he disappeared and he's off to California, and then Mayhew moves out. So,
Right.
and then Pete Lehman moves out. So by 1995, we're like all of the dudes that I grew up with skating are now transplanted to San Diego.
But you're already on Evol at this point, no?
I was actually on, no, so I got on Evol, rewinding a little bit.
Yeah.
The last year what was it? NSA? Was it
NSA,
NSA?
yeah. National Skateboarding Association.
The last year that they had like their huge AM contest, like the national one, me, Mayhew, and Pete Lehman all made it to the finals, which were in San Diego. And so it was all of our, like, you know, I think it was like my mom, like, you know, sort of chaperoned a trip out to California. It was our first experience out here. And from that weekend, we met tons of people. And I think Tony Magnuson was one of them. And we were like put on like H Street, which was transitioning to Evol.
Sure.
So I like left California coming back to Madison with like, you know, new sponsorship and, you know, all this stuff. So like when the Evol video came out, I think it was called Back in Black.
Back in Black, yeah.
I was a senior in high school, still living in Wisconsin. So when that came out.
So how does that work? Are you on the phone with Tony Mac? Are you like, hey, we need this footage for this video? Hey, do you have a filmer out there?
My whole part from that video was from our Mayhew and I took a 6-day trip out to San Diego and stayed at that's BAM, by the way.
That was BAM.
That was BAM.
Look,
before
they spelled
me.
your name wrong.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a theme. That's a recurring theme. That's not going to be the first time you see my name spelled wrong in a video part of mine.
There are a few people in there who definitely get their names spelled wrong from time to time. But Erin?
Yeah.
That's a weird one.
It's the female spelling, I'm pretty sure.
So you were...
Yeah, this was
6 days.
Yeah, I think it was 6 days, maybe 5.
Okay.
I mean, it was something like that.
And you knew you were filming for this?
Yeah, okay. we were fully on. We knew we were filming for something. We were staying at Tony Meg's house. Ooh. And just going out. God, this heel flip's terrible.
That was a good heel flip. Come on.
Oh, thank you. This I was so bummed that they cut that off because I totally rode away from that big flip and that.
What do you think? You did it? Did it not look like it? Let me see.
No, I mean,
they just
cut it
like
really, really quick. They cut it really quick.
Yeah, they did. That thing's huge.
I think it was hard. I mean, I never skated it personally, but it looked hard.
Look at that the Pat Duffy rail. I call it the Pat Duffy rail.
Yeah, it is the Pat Duffy rail.
So 6 days, you're out here with Mayhew.
Yep.
And
just trying to get whatever you can do.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. So
like front heel.
Wow, dude.
I don't know where that came from.
Worked it out though.
I love watching old footage of like other people yourself. You're like, where did that come from, dude?
No.
You had it like that one time, and that's never worked with it again.
I can't. I haven't done that trick in 30 years. That was probably the last one I made.
You went back to Madison, I'm sure, and then that video came out. You had no say. You had no nothing. Like you just.
It was like it showed up in the mail.
That was it.
Yeah.
Did that change anything for you?
Not really, because at this point, you know, I'm still living in Wisconsin. I'm in high school. There's my only thread is, you know, Mayhew and Pete. They're already living in San Diego, so I'm like talking to them on the phone. You know, like, hey, what's going on out there? X, Y, and Z. And to bring it back to when you were saying about when I moved out, so. I actually got a call from Mayhew one day, and he was like, hey, here's the deal. You're going to quit Evol, and I'm going to quit Evol, and we're both going to ride for Maple, and Mark Johnson's going to ride for it as well. And he's wanting to take me along, and I want to take you along.
Wow.
So it was basically him vouching for me. So I was on Maple before I had ever even met anybody in the company. Before I'd ever even stepped foot in San Diego.
Were you familiar with Mark Johnson? Were you familiar
hell yeah.
with... Okay.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I was... Dude,
I don't know. Sometimes people are out of the loop. Like,
I
don't know.
tapped in.
You were
when I was
in.
young,
Okay.
I was like so obsessed, you know, singularly obsessed.
So when you got on Maple, did they already start filming for 7 Steps? Or how did that...
That started right after basically I got to California, because also... rewind a little bit, the team manager for Maple, Ed Dominic, he came from Evol as well, and he brought over Chad Knight. So that was the whole
connection. Right
so it was sort of like me, Chad, we all arrived around the same time. So it was sort of like the new team was now all there, and that kind of, I think, was what sparked the filming for the video.
Chad Knight had he was on our show recently too, and he had mentioned that he looking back at it, he was kind of bummed that he didn't get to skate with Mark Johnson more, and it was kind of the separation. Like Mark was up north, they were down south, and they kind of never really like skated together. Was that the case for you?
Not so much, because Mark and Dave were pretty close. So anytime Mark was in San Diego, he'd be skating with Dave, and I'd be skating like with them.
Okay.
It was definitely like surreal. You know, Mark was like, I'm assuming he hasn't changed like a ton, and so it was just a trip. It was a trip. Like, so some days it would just be like witnessing like a magician. Like, you know what I mean? Like just this twinkle toed fairy, like doing anything.
For sure.
Were you there for a lot of the stuff he did?
No,
Oh.
I wasn't there for most of the stuff that he did. Actually, his part dropped like. And I think almost everybody on the team had not seen the vast majority of his part. I think he kind of did that intentionally.
Right.
I do remember having a conversation with him. I don't know if it was like I don't even remember if there was a premiere or not, but it was right when the video was about to drop. And he was like legitimately concerned that he had like blown his entire
Career.
No, like this was like, what else can I possibly do? Like this is going to be as far as I take skateboarding.
Well, he had a part with an intermission.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly, he did.
But
Yeah.
like at this point, that was probably the tech of skateboarding out.
It was. It was
by-
beyond.
yeah.
This was this part. Like, look at it. It still holds up today. Like
100%.
everything from.
This is 1996, mind you.
Yeah.
This is 96.
Yes. Look at that.
I remember watching this a couple years later after it came out, and the first time I seen it, I was like, came out 3 years ago?
Yeah.
That was way gnarly.
Yeah.
And back then, he probably filmed this in like 94, 95.
Yeah.
He was filming. He was on a
Right.
mission. I remember he was on an absolute mission.
So when this came out, so you had, okay, how did you move out here then? Dave Mayhew called you. You were on.
Yeah,
you got
so
on
I
Maple.
get on Maple. So I'm now on Maple. Graduate from high school, and me and my friend Matt Sosa packed up my car and just drove across country.
How are your parents feeling about all this at the moment? At that time,
In my memory of it, they were super cool and super incredibly supportive. And I know, like, I don't know how they were keeping it together in any way, because it's like, it's one of those, like, if I knew then what I know now, I would never have attempted to do any of this. It's kind of similar.
let's put it into perspective too. Back then, there was no ambitions or like Olympics or anything that a parent could have as, you know, oh, this is going to be good. My son can make a career out of this. There was none of that.
Yeah. You're like,
my kid's moving to LA to go skateboarding. No.
But even if you're a pro, like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
They have no idea what a pro skateboarder means.
you were
As far as
maxing
in the
out-
eyes of a parent.
Yeah. Like pro skaters were like, you were the most successful dude, and you were rocking like a Honda Civic, you know? Like you,
And that was balling back then. That was
and you were like, you were hyped. You
Yeah.
were
You're
like,
making
this is-
4 G's a month. You're balling.
Like this is it.
That's
I
actually
made
pretty
it.
pretty good at that
Yeah.
time. I
I
would
mean, I
imagine.
don't even know if a lot of skaters were getting 4Gs at that point.
I'm talking about for other companies.
Oh.
I don't even
know,
know.
though. I don't
They
know,
had
though.
shoe
You know what?
brands back
No,
then.
I
that's
wasn't
true.
getting
That's
I
before
think
shoes.
it's
Yeah,
I think it's
that's
like
true.
1,000, 1,500,
Yeah,
maybe.
1,500. Yeah, true.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you're pro,
Yeah.
not an AM, and you're AM at this point too. You're not.
I was am and unpaid.
Yeah.
Completely unpaid.
So how were you surviving when you moved out to LA?
And my parents.
They were supporting you.
Yeah, my parents were paying my rent when I first moved out.
That's
Shout out to
awesome.
them.
Wow.
Yeah,
straight up.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. It was.
$200 probably though. You know, living with 5 people.
Yeah, I mean, it was invaluable. You know, it was like one of those things. I remember thinking too, like, it was. I would have gone regardless. You know, like there was no scenario where I wasn't going to California.
Right.
You would have made it work no matter what.
Yeah, but I mean, they paid my rent
Okay.
the first year out there until I could start making some money.
Shout
This
out
is
to the
your-
parents, though. Real talk.
This is your part in 7 Steps right here.
Yeah,
You started
Yeah.
filming right when you got to
yeah.
San
I
Diego?
started filming right when I got there, and I was kind of on fire the first couple of months that I got to San Diego. I moved out to California with a rolled ankle. I rolled my ankle 2 weeks before we left. and so I couldn't skate for the first like full month in California. So I was on Maple getting boards, just like freeloading, and then I started getting back on the board, and I was feeling really good, and I started cranking out footage, and then this day, or I don't know if it was that day, but that rail, the other session, the same day that I did Switch Smith down that rail.
Yeah.
That rail was weird. The PB middle rail was like, it was only it was tiny, but it was super awkward.
Corner pocket.
Yeah, corner pocket rail. Yeah, you had to like leap out to it. It was kind of strange. But I mean,
What about this day?
it was actually keep going.
Go ahead.
I think
Sorry.
it's coming up at the end one.
You had some marathon lines in this part, dude. It was sick.
Yeah. I had a weird thing with like long
What do you mean?
overextended lines that I thought were cool.
They are, dude. To be
Yeah,
honest,
no, they
there's one
were.
line here. It's super long. That was, and I do like the song too. Did you choose
Yeah.
the song?
No, I didn't. I didn't choose this song, and I got so lucky.
It's a great song, dude.
Yeah.
Who chose it?
I'm pretty sure Ed Dominic.
What song is it?
That
Brandy
song.
Oh,
Brandy.
Brandy. Yeah.
Like again, this was this line. We weren't even trying to film. I was just like, oh, I want to do a backsmith back 180, and I made one.
And then you just kept going.
Followed me forever.
That's so sick.
But it goes good with the
It
song.
just shows
too.
like how it's like times have changed so much with the way that like filming and video parts and all the stuff. Like this was more or less like just capturing a session
moment.
than it was like, let me go plan this out.
We talk about it a lot here on the 9 Club, is about just going out and capturing that moment and probably never doing those tricks ever again.
Yeah.
It was like one and dones.
Yeah.
You film it, you move on.
All the hard stuff.
All the hard shit. Yeah, for sure.
Seriously.
Yeah.
One and
Even
done.
the, even the easy shit.
this. What was that ledge at? That was sick.
That was at that was at that same. That was in North San Diego, but there was also that where you land is the set, which is the kink rail that like Steve Olson, like board slid. So this trick, I did this.
Tray flip nose
I
grind.
made it, and immediately I, like in my head, I was like, nope. Caught my rail. You can see right here when I 180 out, there's like a tiny little scrape, and I felt it. I felt my board like
Right.
Oh,
right
the
there.
wheel.
I
Oh, yeah.
felt it. And so I went back and I did it again the very next try. Mind's eye perfect. Like hopped out and the battery died.
I didn't even
get
notice. I didn't even notice that, to be honest, that you did that like that.
No,
but
not
it's
at all.
it's still.
It just shows you how like like that's like how brutally obsessed I was back in the day with like that level of
Detail.
nuance.
Right.
It's like I don't
well,
know.
because if you feel it, then you're like, no, it's not good. I don't like it.
It's a sickness.
it is.
So wait, you were filming it and the battery died, and you didn't get the clip?
Yeah, I did it. I did
very
it
next
2 times in a row, and the second one, I'm not sure if it cut off like on the roll up, the roll away, mid grind, or what. But I had that happen to a couple of like things I was pretty
happens
psyched on.
to the best of us, no doubt.
So you're filming for this 7 steps. Video comes out. Are you happy with it? I mean, now you're in a video with Chad Knight and Mark Johnson and all
Well,
these
to bring it
people.
full circle, this was the day. So this right here, I went to switch smith it. I was pretty sure nobody had switch smith the rail at that point, even though it's questionable if you can consider that a rail. But I did that, and then I did it right away, and I was like, I'm going to switch nose grind it. And I landed on switch nose grind like a bunch of times right away, and then my lead foot like went a little too far forward, and just completely folded over, and I rolled my ankle so bad. So once again, my filming time was completely cut out, so I couldn't film anything else. So like I was really psyched on what I had done, but in my mind, I'm like, I was.
You want more?
Yeah. When don't you?
Story of every skater's life.
Yeah, that happened with me too. But how long after you rolled your ankle did the video come out?
I think I was barely even starting to skate again when the video came. Like I missed like the last like probably 2 or 3 months of filming.
Okay.
Yeah.
You still had a great part. I wouldn't have never guessed that, to be honest.
For sure.
So
Thank you.
it did come out really good.
We're all our worst critic.
Always.
You know,
It's
Say it
we
again.
never satisfied.
No.
yeah.
I think I've ever heard a skater be like, yeah, that's good. I'm done.
Not in the moment. Yeah.
You know, like,
I look back on stuff that's old now, and I'm like, oh, that was great.
It was fine.
What was my problem with that?
and so what happened in the long, like you skated for Maple for how long? A couple years?
No.
No.
Oh no, I was kicked off right after the video.
Why? What happened?
God, I don't know.
Come on, Snyder. Come on, bro.
I
What
don't really
happened?
remember. I think I don't know if it was right after the video, but it was shortly after the video, and it was one of those where I don't really remember much of a lead up to like what was the inciting incident, or if there was one.
Okay. Up to this point, are you going on tours with them? Are you
No.
filming? It's just strictly filming for this video, and that was it.
There were no tours whatsoever. Like
Okay.
we
tour up to San Jose. to
So
go
the
skate?
one thing that we did, it's actually pretty cool. The one thing that we did was we took a little road trip up to the Carson. There was this contest, the Velodrome, which was like this old Olympic venue. And it's pretty crazy because it was the weekend that I met Muska and Penny. Remembering it was like scene out of a movie, you know, like there was like, I'm new to California. I'm in this contest. It's like this Olympic venue, and the parking lot had like all these vans, and there was this one van. I think it was the TSA crew. Remember that? Remember that company?
yeah,
TSA.
Hell yeah.
And I think they had a van with like a keg in it, and it was like the party.
There's always one
Man,
van
you
in the
know,
parking lot with a.
There
And I
was
was
one
like,
beer
and
garden
it was
out there.
also the same day or like week that Muska's first Thrasher cover came out. It was like 5-0 at the Brooklyn Banks Rail. So like he was, you know, as hot as it could possibly be, and he rode for Maple before Toy Machine.
Right, I remember.
So we happened to we kind of like cross paths on the entryway, and I don't remember exactly how it happened, but he like kind of like introduced himself, and I was like, oh yeah, like I rap from Maple now. He's like, oh yeah, freaking, you're the homie. I know all those dudes. It's us. Like, yo, you want to roll? Like, let's go. And he like invited me into the van. So it was like beers and joints and like sitting in the van with a keg and Penny and Muska, and I'm just like, what the
Surreal.
hell is going on?
Very.
And it was the same. Contest at the same time. I don't know if you ever remember the footage of like Penny doing like a couple tricks over a massive hip, and he's wearing like Timberland boots. Like nollie backside flips it and switch frontside flips it the
remember that.
long way. It's
The
like
hard way, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
really, really big hip.
Yeah.
And then there was also a kinked rail that he kick flips over. And I'm sure it's like an iconic random Penny kickflip, but it was exactly that. Like it was literally like coming out of the TSA van, being in the crowd, he grabbed his board, and the rail he kickflips is like off the edge of where the contest is. And just rolls up,
Legendary.
kickflips at first try, and
This is at the Velodrome, like you were saying?
yeah, at the Velodrome.
I think I remember this.
Yeah,
What year was this?
96.
Yes. I
Or
think I remember.
it might
going
have
there.
been 95 or 96.
I think Eric entered that contest, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I
And
think
you
I
know
was
what? It was the contest that he was wearing, I think, the first samples of his S shoe.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, what the fuck is he wearing? Those are
Really?
the
Yeah.
coolest looking shoes I've ever
Yeah.
seen in my life.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a impactful weekend.
How did you skate when you got out of the van?
Didn't skate.
Okay.
There was no skating. I was just there as the like watching. You know, I was just there as a just part of the homies.
Did Eric win that contest?
I don't remember
I
who won
tripping?
that contest.
I might be tripping.
I don't remember who won. It was like everybody though. It was like D-Way was in that contest, and yeah.
Not a big
But
deal.
if you find, it was crazy though, because all of that stuff, that footage from Penny, which is like iconic. Like I remember in my head, I saw it. I'm like, how the fuck is he doing this? This is the same dude who was just like pounding beers.
I
in
do
the
remember
crowd.
this like huge
It was big.
pyramid and
Like
him
hip type
doing.
deal,
Yeah,
yeah.
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 I'm trying to picture it in my head. I can't
It was probably in a 411 or something.
That sounds
TSA video.
It might have been.
Or
Raj is looking for it right now, but I mean,
Etnies
good
High
luck,
Five maybe or
good
something. I
luck,
don't know.
man.
Well, he's wearing Timberlands. You said so.
Yeah.
Well, he's wearing Timberlands doing the hip tricks.
Yeah.
He still had his skate shoes on when he kickflipped the rail.
That's epic. You got to watch that. Dude. I
know.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was a cool weekend. And that was like, I think that was like, that was the thing that kicked off because everybody would hang out at the Pacific Drive Skate Shop, which is the San Diego skate shop. And so after that weekend, there was a little bit of like the next time I saw Chad or the next time I saw Tom, it was like, hey, what's up? Hey, you want to go skate? Hey, what's going on? So that was like how that kind of started.
That little bonding experience. So when Maple kicks you off, that we don't even know why.
Not good enough.
Okay. you think that that's the reason?
I don't know if it's the reason, but I mean, it's like skating, being a pro skater is a lot of things coming together. It's not just necessarily what you do on a skateboard. So looking back on my naive 18-year-old self that knows nothing about nothing, never been to California, never been part of the industry, never been anything, you got to have a lot of things break your way naturally already for that to go right. And so not having any tools to navigate it, I don't think helped.
What about Mayhew and them? Did they have anything to say about like, hey,
good luck?
Well, here's the
it's
thing,
like you're out there
though.
with him,
Mayhew brought you along, right? So it could have been that like, hey, we got Mayhew in here and Snyder, even though you came out with a good video part, but like we got the guy we wanted, maybe. No offense, but I'm
for
just trying to like think about 100%. It in my mind on like how
100%.
Those things roll out back then. You know,
you were not wrong, and they're not like it was. Keep this in mind too. Chad Knight was also AM, and he was switch backside flipping sports arena.
Damn,
you know what I mean?
He was AM back then.
Yeah,
he wasn't even
up until pretty much he switched backside flips.
Right.
Yeah. That's when shit changed.
Because he did turn pro for Maple
immediately after the video.
Yeah. And so they, oh my God.
But that's usually how it works though too.
Right. For sure.
Right.
For sure.
Debut part and you fucking kill it. Like, yeah.
Do you think that maybe just because you weren't jumping down big stuff like other guys that they didn't?
I don't know if it was a combination of jumping down, but I mean, also it's like, what is it? The best ability is availability, right? Like when you show up in California and you can't skate because you got a hurt ankle, and then you skate for 3 months and then you can't skate because you got a hurt ankle, and you know what I mean? That's like your kind of experience.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And you hurt your ankle right
mid filming.
Mid filming. A lot of things,
And it was all about business. It was like, if you ain't doing it, then you got to go. type scenario.
Yeah, man.
Totally.
Right.
Well, at least you had the video part drop. I mean, that was...
Well, that was helpful.
Yeah.
And you had the moment with Muska and Penny.
Which,
without that moment...
Yeah.
Probably.
Tell me, Rob, how did that even... once you were off Maple, then what transpired there? Because you were in the Shortys hardware video.
Yeah. Well, I was actually on... I wasn't even on Shorty's hardware at the time.
What do you mean? You had Shorty's shirt on in the Shorty's hardware video.
I mean, this
No, in the Shorty's hardware. I'm saying when Maple ended, I was not on Shorty's in any way.
Okay, got you.
But Shorty's was
the thing.
That thing. Like, and it was the thing that like everybody rode for Shorty's. Like, they seriously probably had like 70% of like the industry at one point riding their shit.
Damn true.
It was,
and everybody wanted to ride their shit.
Yeah. I think it was, so I'm now not on Maple and I'm skating. Me and Brian Emmers would skate at this place, PB Middle, like every day. And it was the spot that had those bike racks that you'd flip them upside down. Yeah. You skate the bike rack and it had those steep banks all around. It was really like one of the only spots that you could skate without getting busted. So that was like became the local spot. And that was where Muska would start to come on his whatever, like non-hammer mission days.
Just chilling today, dog.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was like where we started like getting to know each other better. And then I had a car and a video camera. I'm like, dude, you ever want to go skate? You ever want to go film? Like, I'm down, like wherever. So that was when we started becoming better friends and like linking up and going like shooting, going filming, and all of that.
Interesting.
Oh, so you met him but would film him?
Yeah, but I didn't film him. There was no clips that I ever filmed of him that were like published until Fulfill the Dream. Like we were like homie, you know what I mean? It was like,
Did he film you too?
Get out in the car, go out to a spot. If somebody's shredding, somebody grab the camera and film. You know, it was kind of like that. It was really like loose, not a lot of. This was before we were planning missions.
Right.
Yeah, so he would film you and you would film him.
Yeah, this was just in and around San Diego. Hey, let's go out to the spot. Let's just go skate.
So how did the Shorty's hardware thing come into play?
Shorty's hardware came pretty much close after I met Chad and Tom and all of those other dudes and got to know a little bit more people in the industry. Then I got on Shorty's hardware.
Who's putting you on? Is Muska?
I honestly can't even remember. It might even be that I got on everything at the same time. It might be, now that I'm thinking about it, I think Muska, and I remember that we were at PB Middle skating one day, and he like said something like, bro, like, do you ever fall? Like I was skating those bike racks non-fucking stop. And that was right at the end of the Toy Machine days. So when the whole thing happened with Chad and Toy Machine fell apart, then we were hanging during that time. So like when...
Oh, you remember that?
Oh, hell yeah.
What was your view on it? Because he was supposed to be in the Toy Machine video last part.
Yeah, I've seen his part.
Yeah, it's online now.
Yeah.
But back then, I mean, that was a crazy move.
Yeah.
I mean, he got kind of belligerent and things fell apart at the premiere and all this stuff. And then they ended up parting ways like that next day or something.
Yeah, it was the next
was
day.
like
I remember there was
it was
like it was like something where there was like an incident and then it kind of blew over and then there was like another thing and then it all ended.
And you're there to see all this. Are you tripping on like what?
I wasn't at the premiere,
okay,
so I didn't see the incident. I didn't see.
But you're
anything
hanging out with
happened.
him.
I'm hanging out with him, and the only thing that I'm thinking when the like dust settles and he's like, "I'm off Toy Machine," like the only thing that I'm thinking is like, whatever the hell you do next, like the skateboarding industry has got to be just frothing right now. Like knowing that you're like. You know, like my thought wasn't like, "Oh, you blew it." My thought was like, "Okay, I get it." Like from both perspectives, I could see how that relationship ended, but I also was thinking like, "What is he gonna?" It was tricky too because he was kind of like a new like type of skate superstar. Like he didn't even really fit. Like you couldn't really picture him like, "Oh, what's he gonna do? Go on Plan B?" Like he didn't even really feel appropriate for that. Like what's what's he gonna be? Right. So when the whole like I remember being privy to like the lead up conversations about like, hey, we're thinking about like doing potentially a brand, a board company, like.
And you don't skate for anybody at this point, so
no.
You're probably like,
yeah, I'm like, that's a great idea. That is an absolute great idea. I was pretty close to it when the whole thing developed. But I was not like put on right away. They formed the company around Chad and they had Sammy and Jesse because they had grown up in Santa Barbara as friends of the owner. And so that was how that connection came. And then it was like, I don't know how much time passed, probably not that long, like a month or two. And he was like, "Yo, you down? Like, you down to ride for Shortys?" Wow. And he had to...
he's handpicking everybody.
Yeah. It was because remember when it came out too, it was like they branded the whole company around like we're gonna start this massive new sort of like super company. It's gonna be based around Muska and it's gonna be 3 pros. And they had 3. Remember the Polaroid ad? They had an ad series where it was 3 Polaroids, but they were all face down. And the first one is face up, and it's Muska. And you're like, who are the other people going to be? And they would reveal who the other pros were going to be. So that was like how they kind of built it initially.
Right. So month after month, there'd be a new ad coming out, a new photo flipped
Correct.
over. It was Muska, Steve Olson.
Yep, and it was Muska and Steve. So it was
Who was the
Muska.
third?
Well,
Smolik.
Oh,
it would
no,
be.
no, not yet,
yes,
though.
It,
Oh,
it would
the third
eventually
was-
be Smolik, but it had to be. So the team was pretty much formed where it was Muska and Olson, and then all of the AMs had been decided. Sammy and Jesse were on. I was on. Brandon got on, like right up pretty much in that same time, as did Tone. I can't remember exactly how Tone got on because he was from Orange County, but
I feel like
happened pretty
like
fast.
Muska saw him at the Huntington Park or
I
something.
think that sounds right.
Yeah, 'cause he
was,
would kill
kickback
that-
tail in the
he would
was
kill that park.
crushing that thing. But so then the team was like set, like to the point where we were already filming and going on film trips, and the question was like, who is the third pro going to be?
They've already released these ads.
All of these ads are out, and they're like hinting like, hey, big announcement coming, like they're
Yet they
already-
had nobody.
It's kind of like they're doing the thing. Remember like the original Plan B when it was like 5 of these people are going to leave their board
They
sponsors
had
and
all the
start a new
names and
company.
stuff,
It was
right.
like kind of like the same
Okay.
idea behind it. And
I love that they had that much confidence.
yeah, and no plan.
And no plan.
None. No plan, all clout.
I love that.
Now, me, Muska, and Brandon, we're skating San Diego all the time. We're skating with Smolik all the time.
How is he just? Is he just there? He's in the mix. Who knew him?
We all did.
You all knew him.
Yeah, I mean, he was like the San Diego dude. Like when we got out there, he was the San Diego dude because Canton Russell kind of grew up with him and mentored, I think, like him and Brandon for a little bit. So Brandon and Peter, they were already on this company Voice that was around back then. So like if you were in San Diego, you definitely knew who he was. And during that time period, skating with him, it became so apparent like he was on such another level of all these other dudes. But the owner, Tony Bulis, rest in peace, he didn't want to put him on. He did not want to put him on because they had established this idea that we're like putting on super pros. We need to put on pros that are going to move the needle the second we announce them. And so it was like months and months and months. And I remember like fucking yesterday being at Muska's house one night. I think Brandon was there too, drinking Goldschlager.
Sounds about right.
The little
Yeah,
gold flakes.
the
in
little
it.
gold flakes. Yeah. And Muska was like, he basically like hit like a breaking point, and he was like, dude, he's like, Smolik's the one, huh? He's like, he's the one, right? And he got on the phone and left Tony a message and was like, this is the dude. He's the dude. We're gonna figure it out. And I remember speaking to the owner, and all of us were like, he's like, dude, this dude, nobody knows him, and we're like, you're not seeing how perfectly you're set up to play this situation right now because you guys have all the momentum. The second you say and announce this is who it is and nobody knows who it is,
He's
it's
already on
even
a pedestal.
It's even more powerful
Right.
because now you're like, who the hell is this guy? And the first thing you see of him was like back 180 switch front crook on like you're like, what the hell?
They
So-
slowly put him out there to like the masses because San Diego, everyone knew how good he was.
Yeah.
But then you see little ads, and then when Shorty's videos
Yeah.
come out, it just blows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He
But
was
it-
on.
yeah.
He was on another level.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, we all knew it. We all saw it. And it just took a lot of, like, the whole team was basically like,
This is the guy.
oh, dude, this is the guy. Like, this is the guy. Trust us. This is the guy.
I mean, dude, Smolik, bro.
Yeah, I think that part blew him to the next dimension of being a pro skater. That like made him the super pro.
For sure.
Well,
Next
not only
level.
that, I mean, you're in this video, Fulfill the Dream, Chad Muska. I mean, this is a well-anticipated video that's going to come out.
Oh, yeah.
Did you feel pressure? Or were you just skating?
Yeah, I mean, I was just skating, but I think you know how it's like the pressure that I had was to put out a part that I felt was worthy of what I thought I could do. So it wasn't so much pressure of, oh my God, there's also an element of not being so inside it that you don't
Can't
really,
see it.
yeah, it's like you don't really see sometimes the larger picture when you're so deep inside it. So
True.
I was
Yeah.
just kind of like trying to skate and just
And plus, how old are
Do
you
my
at this
thing.
point?
20.
Fulfill the dream, 20.
Yeah.
So
20.
yeah. What do you? Yeah. you're
20 and
not-
21.
I mean, what do you? Yeah, you can't see because I mean, you don't see the impact of the girl or chocolate videos. You're just in the moment.
Yeah.
Right.
But they were advertising it like crazy.
Speaking of girl and chocolate videos, I got a good segue for the mouse video.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Yeah. No. Mouse premiere.
Yes.
So there was a period where Muska's crib was like the flop pad. Everybody would just kind of end up there. I don't remember why we specifically ended up there, but me and Emmers go over there on I think it's a Friday or a Saturday night. We go over there like probably like 10 p.m. and Danny Minnick and Clyde Singleton are passed out on his couch, and Muska's just there like with some beer. We're like, so we start just hanging, smoking, and like 20 minutes go by, and Chad mentions that Danny, asleep on the couch, had just come from the mouse premiere, and he filmed it, and we're like, what? You filmed the
This
premiere?
dude, I'm not surprised.
And I'm like, dude, wake his ass up right now. So we woke him up, got him to hook up his camera to the TV. And at like midnight on Saturday with Muska and Clyde, Danny and Emmers, we watched the premiere. And it was like shot from the back where you could see just the tip of all the crowd, like the hands going up and the
That's
crowd going up. And it was seriously like the most unbelievable, mind-blowing night because, it was mouse.
Yeah.
It was mouse. And to see it for the first time in that context, like kind of high and drunk at Muska's pad, watching it third party with Clyde passed out, watching it like, and also this was also at a point where Guy was, it was a comeback at that point. Like even in 95 or 96,
Right.
I remember having conversations of like, is he ever going to do another part again? Is this like he had went into that phase where he would like, clip here, clip there. And then this part drops and it was like a
Levels.
Mind blowing.
mind blowing.
Yeah.
Absolutely mind blowing. Completely like, you know, it's the leaf, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, fly up.
Oh, definitely.
It follows him the whole time. He lands on it and drags it the whole way.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he takes it with him from the
shit.
moment he lands.
I didn't notice that.
Damn, that's a
crazy.
lucky ass leaf.
That's how many times. Yeah, I feel you just notice every little thing in this part.
Yeah.
You've watched it 100 times.
Yeah,
Such
totally.
a good part, bro.
But yeah, man, those were definitely some
That's a
great
bad
memories.
I don't even remember where the mouse premiere was.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, I was sitting here thinking like, damn, where was the mouse
Had to
premiere?
have been in Hollywood.
It had to have been.
Had to have been.
I remember the chocolate premiere like it was yesterday, but for some reason I can't remember where was that premiere.
I remember the chocolate premiere, Directors Guild of America.
Yes.
I was at that.
Yeah.
Did you know that Guy was gonna have a part?
Did I know?
Yeah.
There was talks about it, but not to the point where it was going to be like that.
Really?
That's like what I had heard.
But he was already like going out with Tim Dowling so much and doing these little secret missions that I knew something was happening. You know what I mean?
That's so cool.
He's
though.
always been
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
though.
And that
Secret,
probably
yeah.
trickled
Yeah.
literally like that probably honestly trickled down to San Diego because I remember the anticipation of it coming out and being like, holy shit, we keep hearing Guy's gonna have a part, and then the video happens and Costin's part plays and you at this point you kind of forget about it and it ends.
Yeah.
Guy Mariano comes up after that and you're like, oh my god.
Because you're almost thinking Eric Costin
That
last
was
part.
it, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Video's done.
And I mean, guys, that's dudes like, you know, for people that grew up in my generation,
Oh,
like
yeah.
that was like second coming.
Oh, damn.
You know?
Definitely.
What an experience to
Yeah.
watch mouse video for the first time from Danny Minnick filming it in the back of the theater.
so sick.
That's
Dude,
incredible.
he didn't want to. Muska was like, "No, don't wake him up." I'm like, "Dude, I'm waking up.
You gotta see it. You gotta watch this.
Come on,
I got sorry, bro.
Muska's like, "Oh, whatever, skate video, man."
So
sick.
you're on Shortys. You're filming for this video. Again, you don't know the extent of the impact that this video is going to make. You're just out there filming. You're doing your thing. What was it like during the filming of that video? I mean, were you going out with the guys all the time? Were you skating with Smolik and Brandon and Muska? And was it a team thing?
Oh, it definitely was. It was a lot as advertised, really. Like to Shorty's credit, they did a good job of kind of capturing and establishing that vibe. But San Diego, we had me, Brandon, Smolik.
Yeah.
We're always skating together. Muska had moved from San Diego, is now living in Orange County. So there's that connection. So it's either like I'd go up and stay with Muska, skate at Orange County. He'd come down to San Diego. Everybody's together. And then they would also do, they would have these trips to the house, to Tony's house, the owner's house. And that was when all of the stuff that you would see in the video would just be dropped on us like midday. Be like, we just get up, we get breakfast, and be like, okay, hey, we're gonna go do this. We're riding horses now. Oh, we're hiking up to this old dry basin. You know that thing that's like the old rock thing that they skate. I guess that was like some old water reservoir in Santa Barbara that's been abandoned up in the hills.
Okay.
And but all that stuff was like. We were just clueless, just going along with it.
Are you like, we're riding horses?
Yeah.
What
What are
going
we
on?
Absolutely.
Yeah, like what were your true thoughts like in that moment? Like why are we riding
I'm not
horses?
gonna lie. I mean, it was kind of like remember like Chad Knight brought up on his episode like the idea of like what's the outside perception of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think part of me growing up with like kind of like Girl and Chocolate as like my North Star. That was like my shit. That was like everything that I was into. And then moving to San Diego and then kind of slowly realizing that was like its own separate scene that did its own thing. I always kind of like had the yearning to like get out of that and be more a part of the scene that I had like aspired to be a part of like growing up. So
You held skateboarding up to that standard of like a Girl and Chocolate.
yeah. So when Shortys was happening, like part of me was like, is this too much? Is this like, are we losing the point here, or are we going into the realm of like kiddiness? Like what's happening here? So yeah, so like
But also you have this guy, this superstar Chad Muska, leading the ship.
That was crucial.
Or maybe you're not even tripping on that because you're stuck in this North Star healthy
No.
skateboarding. No,
I mean, it was one of those things where I think I was psyched. I was fucking stoked.
but you had this inkling in your mind. Of,
I had this
where
inkling-
where is this headed to?
Yeah, not only just where is this headed, just like what is this? Like what am I involved in? Like it was wild, dude. Remember some of those like Shortys ads and like the hardware ads?
Oh my God! Everybody was in love with Rosa,
dude. Rosa.
Yeah. Oh, what happened?
Nothing.
You gotta-
No, got me. No, she would come
okay.
and hang out.
Oh,
Like
right.
she would come and hang out at the
Sick.
house when we'd all come out. She was like a teacher.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's
how
what
was
I
she?
heard.
How was she involved in this?
She was just somebody that they had known. Like that's pretty much it.
She's a teacher. How old was she at that time? Like 22-year-old
Yeah,
teacher.
I don't know,
like,
but
yeah.
every skateboarder was in
Oh,
love with
yeah.
her.
Yeah.
They knew
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Like she became a
I
thing
mean,
overnight.
that Bolts
Oh my God.
poster is pretty genius.
legendary.
It's like
It's
same with this
pretty-
grip tape
Exactly.
poster over here. Yeah.
Same concept.
Yeah, for sure.
You know.
Hurts a little bit more than the bolts, but
What is it?
yeah, Rosa. Oh my God. Iconic.
Yeah.
I think
so
what-
they were.
What Shorty's what was cool was that it had you guys, but before that, anyone knew about the board brand, the hardware team, and the Black Magic and all this stuff. It had everyone involved that was cool and not cool, but because there's some people that weren't on it, you know what I mean? But there's so many good skaters on there that you're like, that's dope. This board company's dope too. And it was so weird how everyone was repping Shortys but not writing for the board company.
It made it a little weird there was a lot of conversation of like what's going to happen with the hardware, with Shorty's hardware when we drop this board company, because there's obviously a shitload of conflicts of interest.
Yeah,
Big time.
for sure.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people. I don't know. I don't remember actually. That wasn't even my world or my concern back then. But I could see like companies now. You can't do that nowadays.
No.
Like you got to switch the name. You got to come up with something completely different. We've seen so many companies try to Habitat shoes or Diamond footwear, or like so many things that
Yeah.
it just doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
But it worked for them.
Well, they were the first ones maybe to do that. Well, that would I don't remember.
Maybe on that scale.
Yeah, they were
Maybe.
the first one, and
To have there be a conflict, I think so, for sure.
yeah, I don't think it happened early on, but later, as it
Yeah.
way down the line, people were like, "All right,
Yeah.
dude, this is too
Yeah.
much."
For sure.
Yeah.
That's like a pretty easy business decision, right? Like you're like base a company around Muska, or
We're gonna keep rolling with this bolt thing.
Right, exactly. So I think
Especially in skateboarding, I think that was like one of the first, because like in bigger brands like a Polo or something, Nautica, like they do every category.
Yeah.
Like they don't care. They don't care if they're like offending anybody, but they'll make shoes and they'll make things that they're not traditionally known for making.
Right.
But in skateboarding, like once you do that, like it's like there's going to be a conflict, especially if you have riders.
yeah,
You
no,
know,
that's a big
definitely,
thing. Yeah.
definitely.
I was going to ask something about the filming of that video. We talked about it the other day when we watched it in the live, but the Steve Olson drop-in board slide off the roof. What was the true story behind that? I heard, maybe we've talked about it before, but did you know anything behind that?
Yeah, well, I was the first person that filmed him attempting it.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so that spot was right around the corner from his house. Like it was, and it's right on one of the main strips. It's
on Grand and Garnet, in between Grand and Garnet. Yeah,
Grand and Garnet. So it's like, it's a spot you're familiar with, but like when he's like, yeah, I got this spot I want to check out. No, he drove me there, and dude, and the first time he tried it, I have footage of it. The first time he tried it, like he landed on it. I think he only tried it 3 times, landed on it every single time, and then the cops showed up and kicked us out. And this was like 2 p.m. on like a Wednesday, you know, like you could see like cars pulling. There's like cars parked there. So yeah, I mean, and it also had like one of those, like a metal threshing, like almost like a V bar. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's still there.
Yeah.
I went there the other day. It's still just right there.
The photo
Yeah.
that you took, it looked even like you can't even try it just because of that little metal strip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go,
Hey,
go
pause, so-
before this, actually, because there's a fall of him falling.
Okay.
It's like,
Where?
it's right before that grind, I'm pretty sure.
Damn,
Sorry.
dude. Look at that belt.
That was the day we met Sammy Baptista.
Oh, no way.
The weekend, anyway.
Sorry, it's coming up like really soon, right in between those 2 tries.
So you
Right
filmed,
here.
okay.
So he's
Oh yeah.
Oh, God.
Jesus.
So you filmed him. But he didn't do it. He landed on it every.
He
try.
landed on it
Okay.
every try, and then he fell. Pause that one. Pause that really quick.
Go ahead.
So,
Let's see.
quick story.
This curved rail.
Yeah. So in Green Bay, Wisconsin, there was a dude that was a couple years older than me named Troy Turner. Great friend of mine to this day, and he became my first skate mentor. He was like the one dude in Green Bay that was like, holy shit, this dude is crazy. He was so ahead of his time. It was unreal. And like 1984, I think he read an interview, and it was like a Rodney interview. It was talking about like the ollie kickflip, and it was just, he read it and learned heel flips.
He figured. He figured
And
it
then
out.
would do heel flips and toe flips like regularly.
sick.
And he took he had like a brief moment of sponsorship, and had a trip out to Colorado, and had a photo attempting to board slide this rail that was in the contents page of of a Trans World.
Okay.
And that's how we ended up at this rail. We're now on tour in Colorado, and I'm like, my friend had this photo on this rail, and so we're asking like, hey, where's this local rail? And so that's how we ended up there.
Wow. Somebody knew.
Yep.
But then later on in the Modus,
Somebody did the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Yeah.
And it's not a low rail to get on. It didn't seem.
No,
like,
it's super high.
Yeah.
It's super high. I mean, the photo in the contents page, he's not too far down the rail, but still, he made the contents page.
Wait, so you filmed his first attempts at this, and then
It was so close. You can, of course. I'm not. That's his girlfriend. Look at the frame.
so his
Filming,
girlfriend's
yeah.
filming this.
Yeah, I heard it was like 6 a.m.
After a rave.
Is that what?
Someone
that's
told
what
me
he- that's
I
what
had heard
Kelly
he was
said.
at a rave. Maybe Twan had said that or something. But
I don't know. That doesn't. I'm not sure if he was really attending raves.
oh, I have no idea.
I don't know.
Maybe
We'll
I'm-
have to get him on the show.
Yeah,
it's so weird how these stories just get spun around. You're like, yeah, he
Dude.
was at a rave the night before and pulled it.
I
It's like,
definitely
dude,
know his
Sometime-
girlfriend filmed it.
Sometimes it sounds so
It
good
does.
though.
It really
It's
does.
like
Yeah.
the Mayhew Osiris shoe thing.
Oh,
you know,
God,
it's
yeah.
like, oh, he just showed up and he was late and that was his shoe. Like, great story.
Oh,
Furthest thing from the truth because we've had everybody on Osiris come and
Yeah.
debunk it.
oh yeah, I can double down on that. I remember the day he came in. He was like, I remember him being like, dude, my next shoe is gonna sell like fucking crazy. And he told me totally.
He knew.
He knew. Like he like knew. He knew, and he and
Nice little forecast,
Like
huh?
obviously, it's not like he's not. It's not like in there with the design programs. Nobody was right. It's a
right.
collaboration between skater
sure.
and the person that can
Almost
translate
still
it
is to this day.
for sure.
Right.
Exactly. Unless you're like certain couple people.
I wonder who came up with that story though.
I know.
It's
Like,
so good.
oh, Mayhew came in late. Like that when that shoe came out, that was the story. Like, and it stick to this day.
Sounds like somebody that doesn't want to pay up.
It could be.
Hey.
You know, I was the original Am on Osiris.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened?
What happened at first was they didn't make my size for a year.
That's it. Really?
Yeah, they didn't make 11 and a halves.
Oh,
There was,
They capped out at 11.
Yeah, I went from 11 to 12. Neither of them fit, and and then I think as it got going, kind of going back to like what we were talking about a little bit before with like Shortys and like the perception.
Yeah.
Like I think I was still aspiring. I was still aspiring in the skate industry to ultimately kind of like get more of the acceptance of like the LA, that like sort of like not even get the acceptance. It's just like that's what I was into. That's more what I was into, and I felt like I saw that the San Diego scene was becoming its own thing and becoming and taking on its own identity, and I kind of wanted to distance myself from that a little bit because I was still holding on to this idea that like, I'm going to get on Alien. You know what I mean? Like, it's just ridiculous.
It showed in your skating. It
Definitely,
showed in your
for
skating on what type of skating and what companies you like.
Yeah, I mean, you can't hide that shit.
Yeah. 100%.
It's like,
Yeah.
But
the way
he-
you dress, the tricks,
The
trick selection, all that stuff.
Totally.
Sure.
And but here you are on the biggest company
Yeah.
at that point in time, but you saw you still had aspirations for other things, which is
not even aspirations for other things. It's more just like you're young and self-conscious,
Okay,
and
okay.
what you grow up thinking is cool. It's hard to shake. It's hard to get rid of those perceptions. And I was super. I knew, like I was psyched on Shortys. I knew that we were doing something that was like resonating at the very least. I'm like, this shit is hitting, like,
especially
with
when
a lot
Fulfill
of
the Dream
people.
came out, right?
Oh, hell
like
yeah.
Now it's a whole different level,
For
whole
sure,
different ball game.
But even before that, like even going on like the trips and the tours that led up to that, you could feel like the energy like happening. So I was super into that. It was more just like I aspired to like break out of just the San Diego scene, and that was
When you were going on these tours with Muska, and he's probably skating with a backpack and a boombox, and the crowd's loving it, and they're going crazy, are you guys not even visible to these people? Are they just focused on Muska, or were you guys getting love as well?
No, we were getting love.
Okay.
We were getting tons of love.
Gotcha.
But it was, I mean, it was a lot of like Muska would frequently like pump us up. You know what I mean? Like there would like Muska's, I feel like every trip went some version of like, we get going, Muska's going like crazy, gets hurt, and then sticks around to like pump up the homies and make
dope.
sure
He
that,
turns
like,
it around to you guys.
Yeah,
and
like
okay, you guys.
and he's
now.
just gonna work the crowd.
Love
you
that.
know.
Man,
He turns into a cheerleader, but that's dope.
Yeah.
Because like a majority of dudes, especially someone like of his caliber, would just leave.
Oh
True.
no.
Like, I'm gonna go heal myself and like
Yeah.
not stick around. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he's a
that's
showman
super
though
dope.
at that
Yeah,
point
for
too.
sure.
Like he for sure. I mean, even if he's the cheerleader, he's.
I think he was,
Mm-hmm.
dude. He's. There's a like, you know, I think the perception of like Muska and the reality is like a little bit different. You know, he's pretty
How so?
like he's pretty sharp and cognizant about what's going on around him, and not only what's going on around him, but also people's perception of him. And I think he utilized that to his advantage, like a lot of the times. And
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. When you guys were, I know like Brandon Turner, Sammy Baptista had little beef in the van and stuff like that. And I think Jesse Sylvie was kind of like on his own. This is what Brandon was telling. Even Sammy too. Did you guys, being the AMs, did you guys have was there any tension between you guys, or maybe fun tension, or battling each
let's
other?
see. Maybe I think at the very end, there was like one minor incident, but it was like older brother, younger brother type of shit. I think what's lost is like, or what a lot of people don't realize is how much of the true Shortys like era, like I wasn't really there for. Like by the time Fulfill the Dream was accepting Transworld Best Video and Best Team, I had already been kicked off. Like I was out pretty quick after that video came out. So a lot of like the aftermath, I like kind of witnessed, you know, as opposed to like experienced.
When did you leave?
I got kicked off.
What happened?
Probably, I think I got kicked off in the first, like probably like 1 or 2 months after the video came out.
No way.
Yeah.
It happens again.
Yeah. It's a theme.
What happened?
But does that have something to do with your attitude
That was
towards
just
it?
gonna
Maybe
say, yeah.
Probably. No, it's a lot of things.
not necessarily your attitude now, but maybe when you were younger, you probably were acting. 'Cause sometimes when kids are coming up, they don't know how to navigate through stuff.
I'm sure that there was part of that. I think, if I'm totally honest, I think that my take is the reality is, I don't think that ultimately I would have made a good Shortys pro. Like somebody pointed this out to me, and it kind of made a lot of sense. And it goes back to this kind of like I was really like a skate nerd, and that was kind of my identity. And right after Shorty started, do you remember there was a do you remember the Vancouver contest? Was it
Slam City?
Slam City Jam. The Slam City Jam, the first year of like the whole team, they all the pros, the 3 pros, they had those foam hands.
Yeah, I remember that.
And you could summarize each pro's identity with a hand gesture. They had the Smolik West Coast, the Muska Fuck You, and the Smolik Peace Sign. And they did such a genius job of turning skaters into personalities that I don't really think that I fit that mold, and that I ever really fit that mold. They also, so when I got kicked off, it was like it was a random phone call from my team manager, George Nagai. And he's like, yeah, I got a fax this morning, says I have to kick you off.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
That was like the entirety of, and I'm like,
He didn't know why. He
did not know why. He had no clue. He's like, I'm literally just doing what this fax is telling me to.
Facts.
So I'm like, okay. So I try calling the owner, and I get no answer. And so I call Muska, And I call Muska and I'm like, hey, do you know that I just got kicked off? And he was like, what? The fuck you talking about?
I had no idea.
He had no clue. Nobody had any clue. And he's like, hold on. He hangs up. 45 seconds later, my phone rings and it's the owner. So he calls me up and what he tells me is like, hey, really sorry to have to do this, but the reality is we're not going to turn anybody else pro for at least another year. And, you know, given that you're older than the other AMs and that you just had this video, we figured that it would be best to cut you to let you go pursue your own thing to like fulfill your dream, so to speak.
I hope he didn't say
He
that.
didn't.
but
He didn't
yeah.
say
That's
that.
He did
amazing.
not.
That's amazing. I was like,
He did
wow,
not.
that's a
Yeah, that would have
that's
been bold.
bold.
Yeah, that would have been bold. But yeah, see, he was basically like, you know, we're not going to turn anybody pro for a while. We assume you probably are wanting to go pro soon, which, you know, it's a lot easier to say that than to ask. Hey,
Yeah.
so so that was how it was framed to me.
I get that thought process
Yeah.
because while the video's still shining, like you still have, you know, people watching you and seeing you.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
No, I
But
mean, to their
either way.
credit, they did not turn anybody pro for a year, and the next person was Brandon. And I mean,
that was like guilty or something,
yeah,
right?
guilty.
Yeah.
That was like years later.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, they were true to their word. They were in the weeds when everything hit and Smolik hit and fulfilled all of that. Like they were so trying to scramble to catch up to everything, orders and back. Like they were just like, dude, this. We were not expecting this. They also had a side note. They had the business manager that they had running the company, like probably the month before I got kicked off. They fired him because they caught him embezzling like tons of money.
Damn.
So then they hired some other like legit person
or
to kind of
something? Oh, okay.
come in and like
I guess
whip things
That'll
into,
hurt you.
into
Obviously,
shape.
embezzling some money.
The only thing, I guess it would have been just easier if the owner just called you and told you that instead of being like, "Hey, I got to kick you off."
Oh,
Like
for
from
sure.
like you're like, "Wait, what?" And not
Yeah,
hearing it.
But even then, man,
I mean,
like,
I
it's such
understand
a
that.
hard. But you have to understand, he was a 20-year-old kid.
Yeah, I was
trying to,
21 at this
21,
point.
but still, like
Yeah.
that's devastating, bro.
I'm thinking like I'm gonna go pro.
yeah,
Well, at
the
that
video
point,
just
yeah.
came out. All this
Yeah,
stuff is
that's
happening,
true.
and then you get a.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't super high. I knew. I knew I also got hurt during Fulfill the Dream.
Okay.
I knew that my part was like it was like good enough to justify me being on the team, but it wasn't anywhere near what I thought I was gonna be doing or could or should be
Oh,
doing
for yourself.
Yeah, for myself. So from that aspect, I wasn't overly surprised. You know, I mean, it's a produce industry.
When you got kicked off, were you? Obviously, it had to have been somewhat devastating. It had to
Oh,
have been
hell
a
yeah.
big shock and whatever. But did you think, okay, well now maybe I can go get on Alien or Girl
No.
or Chocolate or any types of
Hell
these
no.
companies?
No, I did not think that.
What were you?
That was
just looked
not
like,
my
hell
thought
no.
process. Yeah, I'm gonna get kicked off Shortys and then go ride for Alien.
No, but yeah.
no.
I mean, you had to had some type of like.
I mean,
okay,
my-
what am I going to do next?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And I mean, my thought process was exactly that. What the hell am I going to do next? I didn't want to take a major step backwards, but I also I think was cognizant enough that like I wasn't gonna get like an A-list sponsor. I had not done what I thought I could do in order for me to merit that. So like if I felt like if I felt like I hadn't earned it, then I know the hell they're not going to be looking at like me like I earned it.
Right.
And do you know any of those people at that point?
No,
like
well,
that's
yeah.
a huge thing.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I knew Rob. I've known Rob since the Alien House. You know, I knew Rob. I knew, it was like at that time, like Justin Bulkma, all those dudes that were like at that part of this crew that were like the Alien crew. I knew all those dudes, but I wasn't like I didn't have a ton of industry connections. Like I really had very, very few. And without not having grown up in California and then coming to San Diego already with my one sponsor secured, and then going from that, like when shit fell apart, I didn't have like a Rolodex of acquaintances to call on.
You had this crew, then you had this crew. You were in your own crew.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It was hard for like, if you rode for Shortys, you were kind of branded that at that point. You guys were like the team. So it's hard for you just to leave that to go somewhere else.
Yeah. And I mean, and between, that was the thing too, and between like that and Osiris, like that's like,
you're pretty San Diego.
You're double stamped.
Yeah. So
Double
like,
stamped.
Yeah.
I had to at least like pull out of one of those.
And we talked about it with Chad Knight here, and they're like, the industry looked at us weird. But like, the industry looked at San Diego at that point like it was not the same as what was going on
But
in
do
LA.
you feel like
That's how I looked at San Diego at the time.
And that's just the way that everyone looked at it in the industry. And I'm not trying to beat around the bush on that. It's just literally what.
No, for sure. I mean, what's crazy, what I look back on and I'm in complete awe of is that they did it. Like that, when you look at that whole thing, like that era, it's all people from random parts of the country that like came to San Diego, formed this squad for this moment in time and had like a real actual impact. So it's super impressive now looking back on it. But yeah, I mean, you know how it is at the time.
oh, dude.
They had their moment for sure. It was the biggest thing in skateboarding.
Yeah. But at the time I'm like, dude, no. Like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Were you getting paid as an AM on Shortys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Shortys, yeah. It was kind of fucked up. Brandon and I were getting paid, and we were told not to tell the other AMs that we were getting paid.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What were you getting? Like a $500?
Yeah,
$1,000?
it was like $350 or something like that.
Okay.
$350 a
Okay.
month, something like
It's
that.
so funny how they don't think that's going to get out.
I know.
Like, oh, don't tell your teammates.
That was ridiculous.
Don't
Yeah.
How do you got money?
Yeah.
Oh, I wash cars.
Yeah.
I mow lawns.
I think they started paying everybody really
Okay.
quickly after that.
Well, I would hope so because I mean they were on top of the world.
Yeah.
Man. They were just print money over there. It seems
Yeah.
like.
I just trip out that you didn't get to have this experience of like the video. It was like night and day. I'm cool. I'm all right for Shorties. Now it's like you're on the biggest team, but you're there for a month. Like you get this big hype and then you're just done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was on the team for a long time, but I was only...
But when you after the Fulfill the Dream
after
comes out,
when right, the culmination was a complete like just pulling the rug out from under you, you know, like you're like on this team, you're working towards this thing, you feeling like holy shit, this is like this, we're creating this whole new vibe and lane and it's working and people are totally attracted to it. And then it not only went away, but then it was bizarre watching it just fucking crumble from the outside. And it was weird, man. Because the second I was outside of it, like it was just like watching like a dumpster fire.
I think that what the biggest fault they had was not staying true to their team and making them grow.
Yeah.
I was just about to ask too. Refresh my memory. In that year, did they put anybody else on?
No.
It was just after that.
Yeah, they didn't put anybody
Guilty.
on.
They didn't have.
No, there was
What video was after Guilty?
Like How to Turn Pro.
How to Turn Pro.
Okay, then
And
was
that
Tory.
one-
Tory was the first one.
Tory and
Lenny Rivas.
and
Oliver Rivas.
Oliver.
wasn't there,
Yeah.
what's the kid, the Brazilian kid?
Oh, Rodrigo Lima?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was like a little squad, but it was so far.
It was already like by the time How to Turn Pro came out, I feel like it was already like done.
Yeah.
Right?
Right,
Like
right.
it's weird to think how fast that wave was.
For me, I was such a Fulfill the Dream fan. When Guilty came around, I almost wasn't even interested anymore. Don't get me wrong, I was interested. I was still a fan, but the magic for me was gone at that point. And then after that, I wasn't even paying attention. I wasn't.
I do remember walking out of the Guilty premiere thinking like, Thank fucking God I was not.
Oh yeah, because you were the only one that wasn't in it.
Yeah.
Damn.
Were you on
crazy.
Darkstar at this point?
Yeah.
How
I
did
think
that?
so.
How did that?
I think so.
How did that come together?
That came together through Ryan Kenrich.
Okay.
Rest in
Oh,
peace.
man.
Peace,
Fucking
dude.
Right.
Definitely.
I met Ryan. I can't even remember how I met Ryan. You know, just back in the day, and we stayed close. And I was riding right when Shortys and I got on like Darkstar wheels, and it was only wheels, and they were kind of running like the Shortys game. Like Darkstar wheels was sponsoring, like they were just fucking handing out sponsorships. And then he told me, hey, I think we're gonna do a board brand, and that's when I started going up and basically like trying to like angle my way into this
Scenario-
into
scenario
this
coming. Yeah.
scenario exactly.
Talk
And,
about perception.
and,
How did you know that Darkstar is perceived a certain way?
Well, at that
or-
point, it wasn't
Right.
perceived anyway, other than it was a wheel company.
True.
You know, like
They
a
had good
real-
writers too on the wheel company.
Not only that, it was other than it was kind of just one of those like nondescript. You're like, oh yeah, they've got like, you know, Knights branding and whatever, but like the wheels were known as really, really good, and the team was really good and a big team.
Yeah.
And I mean, Chet was like, he come from the A team.
The
He's
legend.
like, he's also known for like everybody in the industry knows like Chet is on his
Chet
shit.
Thomas,
He's
yeah.
on his
He's a great
business.
dude,
yeah.
You know,
Right.
So he knows what's up. So when he was like going to do it as a board brand, it felt like it had a ton of potential, especially like looking back at the team, like me, Ryan Kenrich, Gailea, Paul Macnow, like
Mike. What's the other dude from? What's his name? Super gnarly.
which dude?
Mike.
Hasty.
Mike Hasty, dude. Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Mike Hasty. Nolly Crook, the La Cunada 11.
Oh yeah. The thing was what branded that so differently. There's a lot of Canadians came in.
Yeah.
And it was very branded Canadian. And for whatever reason, it was so hard for Canadians to come up back in the day.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't
totally.
know why that was.
So the connection there was because so Chet, his good friend Dan Opek is from Canada, and he would kind of like put into the pipeline all these dudes. And so at one point, you know, me and Gailea are living right down the street from Chet, and we're like the Canadian United Nations. Every Canadian rolls through our crib. So like, you know, we had like Wade DeSarmo staying 18 years old, like first trip to California, staying on our couch. So yeah, it was a lot of Canadians.
Oh yeah, and when Wade came to stay with me, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go stay with Aaron Snyder." I'm like, "How the hell do you know Aaron Snyder?" And I was like, I forgot that was the connection.
Gailea,
Yeah.
Canada.
Dude, Gailea, man, that dude was ahead of his time, man.
So far ahead of his
damn.
time.
Oh my god, yeah, that
Yeah.
all heel back lip rails and stuff like that, way
Yep.
back.
Does anybody know what he's up to these days?
Yeah, man, he's killing it. He's in, I think he's still in Vancouver, and the last that I know, he was doing club promotion and very
yeah.
successful.
Nice.
Yeah, he hooked it up one time. I went. He's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
In
Gailea is
Vancouver.
Yeah.
incredible.
Okay, yeah.
Did they turn you pro right away? Was that part of the deal?
It wasn't right away.
No, okay.
It wasn't right away. And actually, what was fucking Gailea, my man, dude. He there was a moment where, because he was crushing it, like he was fucking gnarly, and there was a moment where Chet took us out to, I think it was like brunch or something, and he kind of put it to us and was like, "Hey, I want to talk to like the cadence of like what's going on here, because like I want you guys to be cool, and like how are you feeling about like if I turn you pro or if I turn you pro or X, Y, Z." And Gailea was pretty much, she's like, "Yo, dude, Snyder's been in the game already twice as long as I have. I wouldn't even feel right turning pro before him. You should turn him pro first."
Wow.
Like just
G.
straight up.
G status.
I gotta
Yes.
give it to Chet Thomas also for having that
Oh, yeah.
conversation.
Oh,
too.
yeah,
like
totally.
that's incredible to me.
Totally.
Talk about communication.
Yeah.
Hey.
A lot of
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
skateboarding, few and far between. Let me tell you.
And there were certain things like eventually it got to the point near the end of Darkstar where he kind of, I think, lost a lot of the control and had to, you know, deal with the reality of kind of being the almost like the passenger in
Right.
your in your own
brand.
Yeah, exactly.
But also they were doing Walmart stuff and big box store stuff. They got into all that.
Yeah.
Which I don't know.
Did they get into that early on?
Not when
I think
I
it
was
was like
writing for 'em.
later.
Way
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
Way later.
So when you turn pro, I mean, great.
Did you
Yeah.
turn pro before him or at the same time?
No, I think it was like maybe just you know what? I'm not sure. It might have been the same time.
Okay.
It might have been the same time. If not, it was like my board was like the quarter before, and then they put Gaillea's board out.
What year was this?
I think 2000.
No.
Yeah.
2000?
Yeah,
Really?
sounds about right.
2001 maybe.
When did
Were-
you move to LA?
Still a long time.
2004.
Okay.
Yeah, 2004.
So you were on Darkstar for
a couple years.
a couple years.
Yeah.
Because you said you were in LA when we were skating together. That was during the Darkstar thing.
No, it was after.
You said it was after.
Yeah, it was after.
Okay.
Wait, so did you film 180 Fakey Mayo Fakey Tray while you were on Darkstar or after?
Oh, dude, that was like the last thing I filmed.
That was
We'll get to
incredible.
that. That's like we'll get to that. We'll bring that up when you get to the Get Tricks or Die Trying.
Okay.
That was a digital video, right? Digital. Well, I mean, we're almost there.
Yeah.
What happened with Darkstar? You're on there for a couple years.
Yeah, I was on Darkstar for a couple of years, and then what happened with Darkstar?
Because they kept going.
Yeah,
I mean, they
Darkstar
kept trucking along.
Yeah,
and-
they were going. I think we were filming for the Video Battalion, but the Darkstar thing was another one that was like kind of surreal, and it was the first one. It's the first time I got kicked off a company where I felt in the back of my head like I think they fucked up.
Really?
You know what I mean? Like it was the first time where I was like, they got some version of like in the past, there was always like some variation of like, you know, I feel like I didn't live up to my end of the bargain of what I wanted to produce.
Okay.
And I felt like I was on the right track and I was getting healthy. The problem with when I was pro for Darkstar, I was living in Orange County with nowhere to frickin' skate. Like there was like nowhere to skate. Like there was not this was pre skate plaza. There's the Huntington Park, and then everywhere in Orange County is illegal to skate. Like period.
What the hell were you doing out there?
Close to.
It was close to the company.
Yeah.
It was close to the company. It was close to the owners of the company, and it was just where I had found myself. But it was so like to skate a ledge. Like Chet had a picnic table and a plastic bench that he kept in store. He bought them and kept them in a storage unit, and he would give us the key, and we'd have to like take him, pack up in the car, drive him to this local park, set him up, and then half the time the cops would come and kick us out. Even of that, I'm like, dude, we set this up. We were bringing our own shit, and you're still kicking us out.
Is it the same one that Ronnie would skate to?
No, it was a different one.
Oh, okay.
It was a different one. So yeah, so I think like when so we were filming for the Darkstar Video Battalion, and we were coming back from. I think we did like a trip in Germany, and we did an Australia tour, and then it was like coming down to like sort of the wire, and just got a random call from Chet, and he was like, I got to come over. And he was like, dude, looking back on, I could tell it was like, it was not easy for him. And he had basically been told by Dwindle, here's X amount of budget we need to cut. And here's who and why we think we should cut X person.
Wow.
And the things that were like brought to my attention was like, they're tallying up like photo incentive requests and like all these other things to kind of sort of gauge your level of like how in the game you are, right? So
Because back in the day, you had to submit your photo incentives. Like if you got an ad in a magazine, you'd have to literally probably photocopy it, send it to them, give it to them, and be like, "Here, give me my money."
So that's so at some end, that's also showing that you're fucking getting out there,
producing.
Yeah.
But I was also filming for a video in which I was holding on to every single thing that I was shooting because I didn't want to release anything before the video came out.
Right.
So, so it was really cut and dry. It was like, we got to let you go. This is a business decision.
Damn.
Really,
Now that's when you said they fucked up.
That was what, that was like, in my head, I was like, they fucked up for a couple of, they fucked up because they really had, it was that pivotal moment where they had something where they could have gone the direction to make something that was really fucking sick and had like legs, or they could have gone the direction where they're selling boards in Walmart,
they went,
and that they went. And from a financial standpoint, I'm sure that they made the right decision, but from a like what if standpoint, it definitely felt like there was a lot of potential, because the way that I think Darkstar is obviously looked at and perceived now, like it's totally different than I think the potential that it had.
Do you think that's when it started to go that way? Is it that moment?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's definitely when it started to go that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it had to. It just got to a point where they just like, they were, under the control of Dwindle, and they had sort of just like, here is the lane where this company is going to keep making money. And
also, they did go the Walmart route. But in hindsight, the way that Chet, he was on the show, the way that he explained it was like, getting boards into the hands of little kids that they could actually skate, that were better than the boards that were already in there. But also, that was also funding the team and trips and different things like that. So you could have totally been a part of all that.
No, totally. So so when that happened, it was like, I think in my head when that happened, you kind of know it's going to be really, really tough to bounce back from this, to like get another real stake in it. And to bring this, the reason that I moved to LA was when I was writing for Darkstar, I ended up like completely like backing into this commercial for Old Spice, like there's this huge national commercial. And so I had like it was like running on like the Super Bowl and like Simpsons at premiere. It was freaking bizarre.
Okay.
It does not exist online.
No, can't find it anywhere.
You cannot find it anywhere.
Are you telling the truth right now, or you just don't want us to see it?
I have it on a disc. If you can get it like translated. It's pretty cringe. It's not horrendous.
You had a speaking role.
Yeah.
What did you say? What were your lines?
You want to?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm pretty
Action.
Sure,
no.
Yeah.
What do we?
I like to sweat. I don't. No. I like to skate. I don't like to sweat. Try Old Spice 30-day challenge, and if you aren't satisfied, we'll give you money back guaranteed.
That's your
something
lines.
like that. But they have me. The lines that I'm delivering is with like full commercial crew in the middle of downtown San Francisco business district lunchtime. Like it's like super intimidating, incredibly intimidating. Wow. And I am not an actor, and so I'm having to do these lines. And when they were casting me in the commercial, they sent me like a wish list. Here's what we're thinking. Here's our potential locations. They had the cardio rail.
Oh, what?
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Yeah, the cardio rail.
No way.
That was what they had in mind.
What, to you to skate or just to be in front of?
No, to grind. Yeah, they wanted me. They were like, the whole thing was like, I went to this casting. They take your photo. It's at some skate park. I'm trying to go skate the streets. I sit around for 45 minutes. I'm like, screw this, and I leave. And at the end of the day, the casting director, they call me and they're like, hey, we see your photo, but we didn't see you. Can you come back tomorrow? The actual director is going to be here. Can you come back tomorrow? So I came back tomorrow. I met the director. The director ended up being the dude who had just shot. I don't know if you remember, like Kalis did this DC commercial where it was like kind of a real commercial. He's like skating like a cop car and something. It was the guy that directed that. And so I met him, talked to him for 20 minutes. They call me later and they're like, you're cast.
No way.
Here's all the stuff we want. Here's what we're thinking. And so they send me the locations, and I like called them back and I'm like, I'm the wrong guy for this. This is not what.
It's not gonna work.
You are John Cardiel and you got Aaron Snyder.
Exactly. There's two different things right there. Not at all. So then they came back and they're like, well, tell us what would work. And so I resent them back like these specs of some shit, and they ended up, it was fucking crazy because they ended up building like a perfect square 7-stair rail at EMB.
Wow.
So I'm like, and I'm the only dude that ever got to skate it. Yeah.
So this commercial's running. I mean, it must have saved your ass because you're getting paid a lot of money.
Exactly. So it completely saved my ass. I got into SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, and so now that I don't have Darkstar, I'm like, I have a commercial agent. So that's when I moved to LA.
Gotcha.
And then my thinking is, okay, fuck being a pro skater. Let me do something and be just a skater.
Okay.
So that was why I was like, I want to move somewhere close to the courthouse. Like, it's like, that was the whole thing, was like, I want to live by the courthouse. I want to be able to be like part of that fucking whole
explosion that's going on there. Yeah.
And it was like, at the time, it wasn't even like, it was like a mid explosion, right? It was like kind of a down point, which the explosion, another one would be in the years to come. But yeah, so I moved to that West LA apartment, and did, in the first year that I lived in LA, I booked 2 more national commercials. So I was now at a point where like it was in like a 12 or like a 16-month span, I had booked 3 national commercials. So financially, that was like, I'm like, okay, fuck yeah, I can like actually pay the bills now, and I can just skate. And that was when Get Tricks or Die Trying was basically happening. And
that was what was it? Bill Weiss?
Yeah.
Did he contact you?
Yeah,
How did that come about?
Weiss he's the homie. I've known him for ever.
And he was hitting up people to go do parts for his video.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think I think that I have clips in almost every single digital video.
Gotcha.
Like I have definitely have clips in Digital One. I remember just Weiss is somebody that was so intimidating when I first saw him and met him in San Diego. He's like this big dude with tattoos, and mid-90s, it was like a rare thing.
Kind of stone-faced.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I mean, what a fantastic human.
Totally.
You know, I mean, Weiss is just, he's been a great friend and an awesome supporter of my skating forever. So all I've ever had to do ever is just be available or say like, I want to do a part, and they're into it.
Was a lot of this footage, was some of this footage when you were on Darkstar still? Was it all new footage?
No, I was not on Darkstar for any of this.
And are you skating, you said you don't want to be a pro skater anymore at this point, but you're filming a part. There has to be a thing in the back of the mind.
Of course, you're delusional. You know, like I would. No, yeah, for sure. Like I mean, I don't even think I'm 30 at this point.
This is a great part, like, though. This is a good part. I mean, you're killing it. That stage.
Yeah, I remember seeing Malcolm Watson like a month after this part came out, and he's like, "Really? Nothing."
But are you just waiting around?
No, I mean,
are you trying to talk to people, see what's out there? What? Hey, maybe
I'm trying. I'm trying, but I'm failing.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really know. I think at this point I was trying definitely to like find something that I could be a part of. I don't think I was thinking of it in terms of the same mindset of like, I need this for my survival, and you know.
It must have been fun doing that without having any sponsors to even deal with.
Yes,
because like you don't have to. Your money is already there. Your income's there. You don't have to.
Yeah, it's an incredibly liberating moment when you are like an aging skater that realizes there's a path for you to like continue on your life, and nothing skate-wise changes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like nothing changes. You'd still do the same shit that you're going to do. You can still push yourself as hard or as little as you want to.
Yeah. And in that year, you probably made more money than you ever did in the skateboard industry.
A lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, totally. It was, yeah.
I want to ask a question about this. I don't want to go away from this, but like, how do you get paid for doing a commercial? Because I always hear people get paid such good money and the residuals. How does that work?
All right, so you get cast, and you're paid a day rate, right? So you get a flat rate for the day, and based on how much you get paid for that day, you get a percentage of that money every single time the commercials run. And they have 2 weeks from the time that the commercial airs to cut you a check. So you go and you shoot it, cool, you do the thing, and I'm like, holy shit, fucking check for like, I think it was like 13 grand or something like that.
For that one day?
For like the shoot.
Okay.
For like the initial like shoot or whatever. And then for the next, year, it's a complete like a mailbox lottery. Like you just nothing. All of a sudden you open your mailbox and there's 3 checks. And
And so that's how you funded this whole time while you were filming for this video.
Correct.
Oh, well, who are you getting boards from at this point?
I think I was getting boards from like pretty much any and every. This is when I was like actually utilizing my skate connections that I had made. I was riding like hot rod boards from Cameron, right? Like I was riding ZJ's boards at one point. I think Weiss would hook me up with boards when I wanted.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just totally random.
Can we go back to like the courthouse?
Oh, now you want to go back? No.
Well, I wanted to talk about how he funded himself while doing it, because people just doing a commercial doesn't sound that, oh, cool, he did a commercial. How would you make money on that?
Oh, dude, if you're a principal, I mean, you were making some bread.
Wait, go. Oh yeah, that was the Primo thing that you did.
Yeah, and I it's funny that I screamed because I was like, fuck. Like I didn't do it.
But that was kind of the end of the era of the courthouse.
Yeah. I'm still bummed that I didn't get I wish it 100% would not have changed my sponsorship situation, but I wish that the 180 Fakey Manny Fakey Tray, pretty sure I filmed that right after this video came out.
Oh.
And that lame trick is my end trick.
That was the ender.
Yeah.
Because the other one came out in your video, the sponsorless part.
Yeah.
Right. Which was
actually, so I put that out because the 180 Fakey Manny Fakey Tray, it was actually a 411 opener, the second to last 411 ever.
No.
So it was like one that nobody saw. Like no, it was
you
like
got a dun-da-da and nobody cared.
Exactly. I finally got that dun.
Damn.
I was hyped when it came out. I think it was called Hot Dog on Wheels, the episode or something. But yeah, so I basically was like, I'm just going to put out a part.
By the way, this part is so good.
Thank you.
It is so good. And
I think this was probably when I was skating the best.
That you think?
Probably.
Okay, after all said and done, this is 2007.
Yeah, I think probably that was close to when I was skating the best.
Yeah.
This part is kind of random, but a bunch of it's like a bunch of extras. It's a bunch of stuff that didn't get used, but a lot of the stuff that you throw away in the moment you look back on, and sometimes even the simpler stuff is like the stuff you like.
I guess it's funny, man, because watching all this footage now, I guess like we weren't skating together unless it was at the courthouse or somewhere around there, maybe the Venice Pits or the Sand Gaps or maybe a spot like that. It was like we weren't going out and skating. And
no,
because
we were skating at the courthouse.
That was it.
Yeah,
we were courthouse buddies.
No, but sure.
That's how it was back then too.
You're right.
Everybody would. I'd go there and I knew you'd be there. I knew this person would be there. I knew I didn't have to call anybody. I would just go
Roper,
there. Right? Billy Roper. Yeah,
there was. Yeah, I think that we had a good second or third or fourth whatever iteration of the courthouse.
Sure.
Those were good times.
Oh yeah, did they at that point where the ledges knobbed and then the courthouse was just, or the stage was just skatable?
No, I think it was
everything was skatable.
Everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then until it wasn't, until they knobbed everything, and then
they knobbed the shit out of that.
Yeah,
they knobbed the stage all gnarly.
There it is. Boom.
That's that's one of my favorite tricks done on that, to be honest.
That's another one. If the end of it, I think I roll up to Morosco and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I have to do that again.
Why? You thought you touched or something?
You got into it?
I knew I didn't touch. I don't know.
You just didn't like it didn't feel right or something?
It felt like maybe like almost like that couldn't have been it. Like, you know what I mean? Like when, I don't know.
Who put this video together?
This video?
Yeah.
I did.
You put everything together. The song, the editing,
I
everything.
edited this
Okay.
video, yeah.
I love the fact. I mean, listen, once we're skaters, always a skater, you know. It's what we do, it's what we love, but you still had that fire to like skate and produce video parts and still do it for maybe in hopes of getting something, but also just for yourself. I feel like too. It was like you have to do this type of shit.
I wouldn't trade in the 180 Fakey Manny Fakey Trey for a sponsor. I would rather have that still on my resume than have gotten another sponsor for not doing it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So it's crazy how weirdly self-driven, you know, skate.
Well, especially at that point in time too. I mean, the courthouse was the place to be.
Yeah.
It was like you were going there. There was energy there, man.
Hell
we were
yeah.
skating that stage every weekend. Our legs were conditioned to jump up that thing for 4 hours.
Yeah.
You know, that was what we were doing. We probably had so many courthouse manual stage sessions that were just went on forever.
Hours and hours and hours. When I first moved to LA, I could barely nose manny the stage.
Yeah.
Like you need to acclimate to that thing. Even they're like, oh, it's not that high. Like, go skate it.
It's high.
It's high.
Yeah.
And it might not be high to ollie up, but it's high to do a hard manual trick
damn.
on.
Totally.
Yeah, once you skate it like each attempt it 15 times, you're
You're done.
You're pretty done.
And we were skating for hours.
Yeah.
Like we would skate that thing. I would switch ollie up that thing forever.
Yeah.
Like or whatever the tricks we were doing or trying for that matter.
That's so crazy. I remember being able to like switch mayo on that thing chilling.
Yeah.
Like go try it now. You're like,
Dude.
No, I know.
That's why we felt like we were on top of the world. You know?
I know.
You also did like a Stoner Park edit. You did a Bear birthday. So you were still doing it. You
I
were
was
still
just
in the
doing it.
game.
Yeah, I mean the stoner thing. Like I had a lot of pride because I had a hand in the making of it. Not the making of it. I knew it was going to
Planning,
get
Alec
made.
Beck.
But when it was first, Alec Beck.
Yeah.
He came to all the locals, and he had us meet with the designers at the Fantasy Factory, and they showed us like the initial designs, and it was like a madhouse. Like it had 5-tiered, ledges going, like it's shit that just didn't make sense at all.
Right.
And they let all of us basically rework it into this like really simple, stylized skate plaza. And I mean, I can't believe it's just, I've been there like over 15 years, I think, or something like that.
I love the fact that, in my understanding, it was the city's kind of thinking was like, if we build this park, it's going to get people to stop skating the West LA courthouse because it's literally right down the street. The opposite happens, right? And I think is that when they knobbed the courthouse? Is when that, or maybe it was knobbed a little bit before that.
Well, we got to talk about unlocking the courthouse.
Oh, dude, for sure. But I thought it was funny because like here Stoner Park, but then Alec
That's
Beck.
the best trick.
There you go.
That's probably the
Alec
best trick I've
Beck
ever
was the spearheading the Stoner Park thing, which then he was the one that spearheaded the courthouse getting unlocked and the Nike thing and all that stuff.
He was the one that was he had the tie, right? He had the government, the connection and the word in. Where I came in on the courthouse was that the original Go Skate Day that led to the unlocking, it was only supposed to be Go Skate Day.
They were supposed to re-knob it.
They were supposed to re-knob it.
That's when Alec Beck.
That's when I came. That's when I came in.
Oh, you came in. I thought it was
Correct.
Alec Beck.
No, it was.
He helped though.
Alec is the overseer. He's the engine that is the intermediary to everybody, all the corporations,
connections.
the government, the local government. So he was somebody that was putting like Nike in touch with the local government city council.
Okay.
And I was just happened to go by the courthouse and see like they're putting metal on the fucking ledges. What is going on here?
They rebuilt the fountain.
And I walk in there and I'm like, okay, what is happening? Because whatever is happening is clearly from some skate pursuit, right?
Sure.
Like you don't just come in and do that. And they had like also built like a hubba down the stage.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was really strange. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And so I put it out there to like the local text whoever, and Alex like, yo, that's fucking Nike. It's for Go Skate Day. Keep it on the low. So now I start texting Alec on the side, and I'm like, what is this? And he's like, it's for Go Skate Day. And I'm like, so they're building it and turning it into a plaza? And he was like, no, they're making it for one day. And I'm like, and then what? And he's like, well, then it's going to go back to how it was.
Knobbed and unscathed.
And I'm like, you don't have, like, okay.
Damn.
I don't know if Nike's PR is quite aware of the shitstorm that's going to fucking fly their way, because that is a terrible idea. That is the worst idea I've ever heard, to invest $150,000 into an iconic, historic, legendary skate spot to open up for like a floodgate of like kids on Go Skate Day and then completely eliminate it the next day. Like I have a real problem with this.
It would have made sense if they were like totally destroying everything after and getting rid of it. But if
Yeah.
you're just gonna knob it and leave it there like it was,
That's what I'm saying. They were
that's
just gonna
nuts.
they like fix it up, then to unfix it, or to like knob it up,
Yeah,
but
that's
then
nuts.
still keep it like fixed. It made no sense.
So how did you spearhead the movement?
So all I did was I'm on text messages with Alec, and I'm like, dude, this is not cool, dude. This is not good, and I'm gonna speak my mind to whoever is going to listen, and that's all it took. And like the next morning, Alex like texting me, and he's like, hey, like, what are you doing? Can you like swing by the courthouse and come by? And like, and by like that night, they had already contacted Nike, talked to the city council, and worked out an annual stipend of like, I think it was like 10 grand a year for upkeep. And they're like, yeah, we'll just, we can do that and keep it open. And it was like, and it was fucking like that. And then like 3 days after that, there was like a ribbon cutting ceremony, and the whole thing was unlocked. And it's been like, since that day.
amazing.
I mean, I unfortunately have heard, I don't know if you know the status of
Yeah.
what's going on now,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it's looking too promising for the future.
It's not. It's
Yeah.
not. They're going to build some
Yeah.
stuff there. So
It was
condos or
inevitable.
whatever.
It was
Yeah.
inevitable.
Yeah.
But I mean, we had that time.
Yeah,
like that was
totally.
a
That was a
long
good run.
That was
That was
a
a great
long
run.
and a lot of people got. I mean, the tricks that went down on the stage in the era since we were killing.
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh, that's pretty hard. Well, I love the fact that it became a. We grew up skating that spot, looking over our shoulders, getting chased out by the cops, running, getting surrounded by cops, getting tickets every other weekend. Like it was our love park, running from doing the whole thing. It did change the vibe there when it was all metal edges and okay to skate there. It did feel like
for sure.
different. It
Yeah.
felt like a skate park now.
Yeah.
It felt like something. At least the stage was untouched,
Yep.
and that kind of remained a street spot.
That was
quote-unquote,
also one
right?
of the. That was also one of like the stipulations that we had with the city council or the Nike, as well as the local neighborhood city council, was that they removed the hubba and the thing that
Yes.
they built out. They're like, we want it totally the same.
Right.
And that was also then, so the next year they came back and they're like, now what can we do? That's when they rebuilt the fountain and
Oh,
unknobbed
they
it.
rebuilt it the next
Or
year.
not.
Okay,
That
was
that's interesting.
awesome.
So
Yeah,
that was, which I mean, to
yeah.
their credit, like talk about phenomenal follow-up. Like not only does Nike get behind unlocking the spot, but then they're like, they come back to us and they're like, what can we do that's going to be like
That's
legit?
right. Because
you know?
my ledge.
Yeah.
listen, that's right. My
Exactly.
ledge was still knobbed.
Yep.
They didn't.
And that was the thing. And
Who
they,
was bro.
so that was another thing. I had to
Kelly's laughing,
interject.
but he don't even-
They almost made it
You know what I'm
metal.
saying?
It's his legend.
When they
Really?
they almost made it metal, and I'm like, dude, no.
Yeah.
You like you it's one thing to have me like that. It pains me to hear people refer to this place as a skate park now.
Right.
Can we please keep a couple of obstacles that are like going to remain exactly as they are, so that like the proving ground remains the same throughout the generations?
For sure.
For sure.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
changed my life for sure. That made us a place that like you could go and legitly get.
Did you do the fakey Trey, fakey Manny after that?
I did it. Yeah, it was like.
Oh, you did it when it was a skate park.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, it was the stage was the same. Stage
No, it was.
exactly
It was.
the
They
same.
lowered it a little bit. Remember they
Scraped
Snyder,
through
come
the
on.
metal.
Yeah, it was cool though. They actually left the ledge on the stage, like everything around it.
Yep.
That thing is chunky as hell
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't even redo the edge of that.
It was pretty cool.
Or
man.
I don't think they redid the out ledge either, right? The one that
No,
you didn't, yeah.
no.
Oh,
No,
Chris's
that remained
ledge?
the same. Yeah, my ledge. I thought I was going to get a plaque on that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
still
people
time.
shit on that thing
Statue.
after.
They did, but who was shitting on it before me?
I got a plug with the neighborhood city council.
What do you mean? Oh, you got a little plaque? Maybe I can get a little bronze statue over there.
Wait, nothing went down before you.
No Slide, Big Spin, Dustin Charlton, I think, did that before me.
Yep.
And then Robbie McKinley tried to crooked grind it,
Yeah.
got smoked.
Smoked.
Rest in
Black
peace,
eye.
Rodney,
Rest in peace.
Robbie.
Yeah.
But yeah, then
He did no slide it.
He did no slide it.
did.
Okay, so
But
you
if
were the
I
third
5-0'd
trick.
and no dubs.
You were the third
I
and
was
fourth
the
trick.
tricks that mattered.
They did matter. For sure.
I've thought sometimes, personally, 5-0 is almost sketchier.
5-0 is gnarly, especially the way he does it.
I have gotten.
Right.
I feel like I've taken some of the worst slams of my life. Just
I think you're-
getting slightly too up on top of a 5-0.
You get on, the way he does it though.
It's like a Manny.
It's a Manny,
Yeah.
which is legitimately
Your
like
body's
There it is.
almost
Yep.
harder.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking gnarly.
Now, did you grease that thing up
Dude,
real nice?
He
Oh,
says
dude,
boom to his
yeah.
own trick.
Well, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Kelly, you
His
know
own
me. You
ledge.
know me.
The chef
Like
is
boom.
Those things are so big.
This. That's Listen or something? No, I don't know.
Tray
no,
flip?
yeah, those are
Wait, you gonna
audios.
tray
Oh,
flip
yeah,
this
tray
thing?
flip. Those are the...
Oh, that's DVS.
Those
That's
are
before
the
Sheffies.
Those are the
yeah,
Sheffies.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
Look at that.
I was there that day.
You were there?
Yep, I
That's
was
where you
there
got
that
the
day.
idea to do the fakey tray out,
Of course.
Pop, shove it, nose grind.
That was gnarly.
Damn, look how clean that
Only
place
time
looks,
I wore
dude.
I know.
Crazy. I was wearing a beanie. Yeah.
That was from.
But again, jumping up that thing every goddamn weekend,
Yeah.
dude. Every weekend we'd be jumping up that goddamn
Your
thing.
legs were prepped for that.
Bro,
shit.
Yep.
prepped.
Sparky.
Man.
I learned a lot of stuff off, like skating off of it.
It's funny, I never skated off of it.
It was so fun just to like, if
Used
you
to
have
have like games of skate on top of
the
it,
ground up top is still so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or like rainy days skate up there.
Pretty
Oh,
good,
yeah,
Chris. That was
my
pretty
nose
good,
grind was
Chris.
on there. I thought it was
Yeah.
nose grind.
That was
They
pretty
didn't
good.
put the nose grind on there?
It was probably earlier in the video
Oh,
or
maybe,
something.
maybe.
That's probably what it was.
But yeah, I think the courthouse was instrumental in a lot of people's careers too.
Hell yeah.
Because that was a spot where we could go to and we could see a little bit before your time, but I would, Tim Gavin would show up, Eric Costin, like all these pros. And like, that's my first experience with like interacting with these guys and
Oh,
really
yeah.
being like, dude, and seeing how they're skating and getting in the background of a video of Kareem Campbell. And
totally.
like, that was,
And dude, when
It
like
was-
Paco came out, I was still in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Like I'm, you know what I mean? Like I'm going to the courthouse already, like with like the
Gabriel Rodriguez is
spirits of
tail
legends
sliding the
around me,
wrong
you know?
end of it.
yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah, fucking gnarly.
What a
So
time! What a time!
you continue with the acting thing for a while because now you're doing a whole different thing. You're
Yeah. Nah, that ended. That got frustrating really
I'm
quickly.
sure.
You
It's
know.
a dog eat dog world out there with the acting shit.
Yeah, it's no fun.
Right.
You know, when you're in like auditions and you're like in like a lineup of like 15 people and there's seriously somebody like, okay, you're at the bottom of the ocean and you're a piece of algae and you're just moving with the flow of the music. And then they play, you know, and you're like,
What?
yeah, exactly. So you're like, this is not,
You're like, I have to do that?
Yeah,
You're
this is
like,
not
Hold
me.
on, let me play
So
you my
that-
let me
yeah.
play you my 180 fakey man.
Yeah,
fakey
yeah,
track.
I can
Let me
do
play you
this.
that.
Here we go.
Yeah,
Play
you still
that.
want to see me float like an algae? Right. Exactly. No, so as you get deeper into going on these things, it gets farther and farther away from like your forte, which is like skating. With anything that was like skate related, you know, even the smaller stuff, I would book that frequently. But it quickly just becomes something that's just a soul sucking activity. So I thought I better find some version of some other like path. You know, I need to find another job. And at the time, I was living with this dude who he was the assistant to the head of TV development at CBS. And so he had like all these production connections. And I basically came to him and was like, can you get me a job? I'll fucking do anything. And he's like, well, you skateboard, what the hell can you do? And I'm like, well, I can run these editing programs. You know, I know how to do this. And so he got me a job as a transcriber for this production company that did the show Intervention.
Okay.
A&E Intervention.
Yeah.
And so I started doing this job as a transcriber, and pretty quickly, if you can operate the actual equipment, especially at this time, if you know like offline editing, you're going to be put to work somehow doing that. So within like a month, it gave me an assistant editing job, and then that was where I met this dude who came in to edit the show, and we became good friends. And it's crazy because this guy, I haven't seen him in years, but I worked with him for a summer, and he pretty much taught me how to edit beyond like a skate part. Like, here's how you really construct a story. Here's how you will have to edit like something with like a 6-act structure within like a 56-minute window, or for television or for film or X, Y, or Z. And this dude, he had like this short film that he showed me that blew me away. I'm like, this guy's the most talented, filmmaker, right? He wrote it, shot it, directed it, produced it, edited it, did the sound design, did the color, did everything. So he was so freaking talented. And like 2 years later, I'm like driving down the street on like Sunset Boulevard, and I see a billboard for the feature-length movie of the short film that he had like shown me. And this dude, turns out his name is Mike Flanagan, and he currently is like the #1 horror director in like all of Hollywood, all of Netflix. He does that show, the House of The Haunting of Hill House. He does all of the like the top Netflix horror series. He's like the creator director of all of them.
That's sick.
So I was like, it's completely like unbelievable that I ran into this dude, and I'm like, it was almost like skating. I'm skating with Wade DeZarmo at 18, and like you're like, like you see this dude do one kickflip on flat ground, and you're like, oh hell yeah! It was the same kind of thing, and to see that come to fruition, to see that talent manifest and him achieve crazy amounts of success was super, super inspiring. And it also led me on like a similar path, because after my stint editing and assistant editing for that company, I took a night shift job and worked 8 months editing the show UFO Hunters.
Okay.
Yeah. During the night shift. That was quite the
Wait, so why did it have to be at night?
Yeah.
It didn't have to be. It's like you I have no idea. That's a damn good question.
I'd be going out to my car like,
Because those are the hours they offered me. That's that was
That's when the job needed to be done.
and it was running like I would come over and take over for the day shift editor,
Oh, so continuously
yeah,
going.
I would
Okay.
take over, and he would be like, here's all the Roswell footage, here's the X, Y, and Z, and here's like the storyline, here's this
Okay.
interview. And then I would take it over, and I would go from 8 p.m. until 6 in the morning. And did that. Yeah. It was crazy isolating.
Was it interesting working on that show, and just based on the UFO factor?
It was super interesting, but it was also really illuminating how complete bullshit most reality TV is. And I'm the thing is, I'm like, now I'm like, dude, UFO, like, absolutely, like, that shit is real. But like, I'm talking to the guy that's the producer of this show, and he's like, yeah, we're just making this shit up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was not on the level. Like,
well, they can't run cameras 24/7, right? They have to construct a story.
exactly. You got to construct something.
Oh my god.
So that got my like credentials a little bit
Okay.
in the door, and then after that, I got a job as the editor of this show, True Life. It's an MTV show.
Yeah.
And
Remember that show?
yeah, you remember that show?
Yeah.
And that was like,
They would touch on like, personal, like random, like things. I can't even. How about
every
pinpoint?
episode was a different specific scenario of something anybody between the ages of 18 and 30 was going through.
Yes.
So most of them were like really, you know what I mean? Like I'm getting,
It's like dramatized too.
I hate my face, or I'm getting plastic surgery, or, you know, whatever. But there were also a lot of really intense ones. Like we did ones on like I'm losing my vision. I have cancer.
Yeah.
I'm, you know, so
It's deep.
for some sort of like, you know, grinding through all of the possible scenarios from an editor standpoint, like it was the best training possible,
For sure.
because you're doing something really, really intense and intimate one week, and then you're doing something that's more on the lines of like Jersey Shore the next week, because the topics would vary
The
so
gamut's all
wildly.
over the place.
Yeah. And I did, so I was the lead editor and then associate produced that show for, I think, 7 seasons.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Okay.
So it was a while.
That's super rad, bro.
Did that make good money for you at that point, or?
Yeah. I mean, it was a legit the career path.
Yeah.
You know, it was paying the bills and doing all that. But it started to get to the point where I had successfully transitioned to the point where I'm like, I can live and survive and do things outside of having to like think that I need to ride the skateboard.
Right.
But I felt like I was totally missing the culture. You know, I felt like I had like all my peers, everybody that I was around, nobody came from my background. And so you just like, you know, like when you're not around skaters for a long time, it's fucking weird. It's seriously weird. Like you almost lose that part of yourself.
Sure.
Like that was when I felt, you know, say it ended. And that was when I was like, all right, whatever I do next, I want to be somehow involved in skating.
Right.
Like somehow.
I think it's rad though from that standpoint, because like you're creating a new venture that you can potentially help other skaters later down the road.
For
you know what
sure.
I mean? So if there was another skater that happened to be an editor,
For
and
sure.
he was in the rig, like out of 3 dudes, like, you know, more likely I'm probably gonna pick that skater. You
Yeah,
know what
man.
I mean? Just because that's how that's the
For
nature
sure.
of us in
Exactly.
that sense.
And skating has a whole world of infrastructure of creative and logistic talents that can lead to
damn.
like so many other things, you know?
For sure.
I just find it amazing that you weren't like the skateboarder that just grew up editing. I mean, like you did to an extent, but you were known and you just totally picked a random route and kind of.
It seems like that. It does seem like that, but in hindsight, it makes a lot of sense. Like again, going back, like I was editing Dave Mayhew and our Sponsor Me tapes, and at the time, like I ordered mail order catalog to this audio mixer where I had a VHS tape that was our source film camera, because we recorded straight to VHS. That went routed into an audio mixer and then out to another VHS tape where I was able to mix in sounds like the real skate videos.
That early on too.
And this is in
Yeah.
the 80s. Like, no, this is 91, you know? So when I think of it that way, and then when I think
That
of
makes
like,
sense.
it kind of makes sense.
For sure.
What are you doing now?
Pretty much the same thing,
Yeah.
editing and producing. Yeah.
Okay.
I work for Pepsi, which is started by, I got hired by Rockstar Energy. That was my tap back into like, hey, I don't care what it is. I want to be involved in skating. And I had a creative agency that was like representing me that would just present random work opportunities.
Oh, so you were kind of like a freelancer at this
Yeah.
point. Oh.
Yeah.
okay.
When True Life ended, I was just freelancing.
So you'd get a job. Oh, we're doing this show. We need an editor. Boom. We got
Exactly.
your guy. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And then when Rockstar came up, I was like, yep, that would be perfect. I'm like, I know that culture. I know the editing, you know, all of it. Like, let's go.
Okay.
And at that time, do they still have a skate team?
Yeah. They,
You're tied into some degree.
at
right?
that time, yeah, at that time it was, I mean, it was still close. I mean, David was still on. And like, I think at that time, like Louis Lopez was on.
Oh yeah.
Jocelyn? No.
Yeah, no,
Maybe
Jocelyn
later.
Jocelyn's he
Yeah,
just
okay.
I think he's in the last, he was like an
Yeah.
addition right right after or right around
Okay.
the time that I started working for
Do
them.
they still have a skate program?
Yep.
Program?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Their program is
heavy.
it's about to blow up.
Oh, really?
Jocelyn and Hoban now.
Let's get it.
Braden.
So you said Pepsi, but you still.
So I got hired
Yeah.
by Rockstar, and the intention initially was I was going to kind of take over the video department, and right around that, this is immediately before the pandemic hit.
Uh-huh.
Pandemic hits, everybody's told to go home, and the next day it's announced that Pepsi bought Rockstar. And so nobody's going to the office, nobody's doing anything, and now everything's happening via Zoom. So now I'm working for Pepsi Energy,
Okay.
because Pepsi started an energy division, bought they pretty much they had a distribution deal, Rockstar with Pepsi, that was like not super good, and so Pepsi basically bought Rockstar so they could get into the energy.
Okay.
Like,
how you do it.
yeah,
As they do.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can't beat them, buy them.
Right.
Exactly. So did they shelf them, or are they like they're still out?
No, they're totally still
Okay,
out there.
cool.
Yeah, they're
'Cause
they're
usually
pushing
the
it.
Big
they're,
companies like
they're
that will shelf
pushing
you
it
real quick and then start their own shit. And
Yeah, no, they're still doing it, and then they're distributing like Celsius and other brands like
Yeah,
that. So
nice.
that's supplementing
Wow.
some money. So yeah, so that was like I've been working for them for like 5 years now.
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. It's great. I get to work with like the dudes like the team, Jocelyn, Braden,
Okay.
Hoban, all these skaters, and then all these all the passion points like these gaming streamers and influencers, musicians.
Oh, wow.
Who also doing all sorts of like it's different. I can be working with athletes on a piece like that. I can do product videos or photography, so every day is something a little bit new.
Perfect.
So I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like it's like an appropriate place for like my varied skill set.
Fitting.
Yeah.
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 Pepsi owns Celsius. Like
They distribute Celsius.
Okay, I'm
yeah.
starting to see that shit everywhere.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
a cult.
Yeah.
Wait, so what exactly do you do? Like, so do you come up with ideas and then make them happen? Or are you just editing things? What's going on?
All of the above.
Oh,
Yeah, all the above. So, it's sort of like if my office looks kind of like this room,
Okay.
and
Lights and cameras.
yeah, and it's everything from like, hey, we're releasing a new product and we want to do like a product release video around that. So something that would be look like like a soda commercial that we would shoot and do in-house.
Yeah.
To like pieces where we're going to do something with like a Chris Joslin sort of day in the life where we go around, or we're also working on skate parts and anything that goes on their YouTube, anything that goes for any advertisement that pops up from Rockstar Energy like in your social feed. That's
It's all
stuff-
you.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
all me.
wow!
Yeah, I do
Congrats
all
on
this-
that.
yeah.
Yeah, dude.
So you could go to the big wigs and be like, "Yeah, I got this podcast. I'm telling you, they're huge. They're huge. We need to be in bed with them."
No, trust me. I'm sure. Shout out Steve Mateus. He's the
Shout out Steve,
Yeah,
bro.
he's the head of Rockstar Sports.
Okay.
So he's been around for forever, and he's an avid listener of yours as well.
Love it.
Ah,
Wait,
shout
wait,
out to him. Big shout out.
Did he used to work at Red Bull?
No,
Oh,
not to my knowledge.
How dare
maybe
you?
not.
How dare you?
He's been the
Kelly?
dude at Rockstar for decades.
Brennan Milligan used to work there.
Yeah,
okay.
Brennan.
Okay. I didn't know if he had. Okay, they know each other really well, don't
Yeah.
they? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
sorry,
We're just
right on.
talking Rockstar right now.
Yeah.
So yeah. Steve, what's up, bro? How you doing, man? That's amazing, bro. I mean, you still
Yeah,
connected
man.
to the skate thing. You took, left turn, right turn, ended up back kind of in the mix. I love it.
Kind of full circle.
Yeah.
Life is good.
Dude.
Married,
Bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we went to
Dude.
your house not too long ago. You guys had did you guys have is it a barn or something?
We have a barn. Yeah. It's
It's a house.
it's a house.
It's a barn house.
It's a barn
Yeah.
house. It's a barn house.
It's a
Very
cool
not
house,
even
dude.
like remotely fitting to whatever the neighborhood looks like.
No.
It's like out of
Yeah, it's a barn in Inglewood.
No way.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Okay.
It's pretty wild.
How long have you been living there for?
6 years?
Did you guys convert it or what? How did that?
The story goes that it was won in a sweepstakes in like the 80s, and it's actually like a prefab where everybody in the neighborhood's like, yeah, I remember when they brought it into the neighborhood, they brought it in and clamped it, and from the inside of the house, all the bones are like the actual supports.
No way.
You know?
Huh.
Yeah.
And then so people over the years they repurposed it to become a house? And
No,
do all
it
that?
was never. It was a legit house, but it's just shaped like a gambrel shaped barn.
And so this was you won the sweepstakes. You won this
They
house.
won this house. Yeah, like people are like, we remember when they won the house and they brought it in. And then we also had this at one of our parties. We had one of the neighbors. This girl was telling us that the house used to be. It used to be like this hip hop like meeting grounds for this group called the Inglewoodians in like the early 90s or late 80s.
Wow.
And that they were saying, they're like, oh no, they're like Snoop's been in here, like all
Wow.
like dudes are like,
Damn.
yeah, they were saying like that it apparently was like a real spot.
Let's get a reunion coming. Dude.
Yeah,
let's get
history, I'm down.
let's get Snoop back in there.
Yeah, but no, it's a wild.
awesome.
It's crazy. It's a fun house.
That's awesome.
You plan on staying then?
Yeah, I mean, for I think who knows how long. I think LA gets to be a lot, so I think both my wife and I would like to eventually set down some roots
Nice.
elsewhere. But I think the goal is obviously it's like, hey, if you can maintain and keep
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Man.
place
Nice
Yeah.
yard
in
and
and around
everything.
yeah,
You gotta- It's
I
a
mean,
good spot.
We love it.
It's a
there.
good spot.
We
And you're
love it.
close to work too.
Super close to work. Got
Yeah.
the 2 dogs, 3 cats.
There you
So
go.
yeah,
Damn.
Okay.
Picket fence, everything.
yeah, hedge.
Hedge.
Exactly.
Well, dude, this has been incredible, bro.
I love it,
Man, thanks for coming on and sharing this. I love to hear the stories from, we've had Brandon Turner on, we've had Sammy Baptista and Muska and all these people. And it's so funny to hear the different takes on each person's journey and how they perceived everything. It's such a rad thing. And you had like such a different story than like any of them.
Yeah, I think it was. It was a little. I was in a unique spot. I think I was the only dude that like came out and was from Wisconsin and was like,
Yeah.
like everybody else around me, kind of like they were born up into it, and it was like this outsider coming in.
Right.
But you know what? So was Chad at the time.
So was everybody.
A lot
Dave
of it,
Mayhew. I mean, there was a
yeah,
lot
that's
of people that came from East.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know?
Hell yeah,
And tried to make the best of it.
Right.
I mean,
and sure did.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
a lot of dudes came out and made their dream come true.
No, man. I mean, I look back on that era with like such unbelievable like joy and pride and yeah.
You were
and-
part of something
Yeah,
that
for sure.
is solidified in skateboarding history as legendary. Think about that.
No doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take that.
It's crazy.
You can kick me off every company. It's fine, so.
You're the most legendary video almost.
That's a very
Yeah.
unique situation though to be in. I think being at that 3 different companies right after the video comes out, like
Yeah.
that's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it was
but
wild.
you fucking are a strong ass individual and you fucking
yeah.
maintain and you always strive through and still came through with like, because the passion of skateboarding.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, and then Street League? Yeah, she went in a Street.
Oh
You
yeah.
can get a Street League.
But he judged Street
That's
League.
all
I got
good.
to judge
It
with
was
you.
early
You got
on.
to judge with me in Street League?
Yeah,
Early on.
It was my early days
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
That was the first. We were the first.
What happened? You got
First
kicked
wave.
off? No, I'm just
Of course.
It was only fitting, right?
Only fitting. You know how the story ends. I mean, come on.
You have a great attitude, bro.
I know, you
You're
really
okay with
do,
this shit,
man.
no doubt.
You've always had a great attitude, though, man. Ever since I've known you and skated with you, it's always been a smile on your face and let's go
Oh, for
skate
sure.
and we're just happy to be out there.
No doubt.
Took a while to get here. Yeah.
I mean,
I appreciate
dude,
that, though,
we're-
man.
You've
Wow.
evolved, bro.
I appreciate that. No, it's
I'm
been an
telling you,
absolute
man.
blast.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute blast.
Well, it's not over, man. Can we give you some 9 Club stuff to take home with
Oh,
you, dude?
hell
We
yeah.
got a couple things for you. Kelly, you do
Please.
the honors,
What
bro.
size? What size are you? T-shirts,
Oh, large.
large kid.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's really funny, dude, to like I don't know. I look at my situation Well, I mean, like I'm still on chocolate and I'm still doing my thing and with the show and.
But dude, you're like you know about the transition, like the figuring out post
The next step.
just activity on your skateboard.
Well, I thought in my life, in my book, my story would be. I feel like I would. I thought I'd be way out of skateboarding by now. I thought I'd be out. I'd be.
So did I.
Set sail. It brings you back in.
You were half
Thank you.
you were half in it when we were skating together.
I mean, dude, like it just always brings you back in. It's crazy.
Totally.
But
Totally. You can't get away from it.
But I look at my journey also as this, like I'm just so thankful to be a part of these things. I'm thankful to be a part of Yeah Right and to be a part of the chocolate videos and just, and the people that surrounded me, or just Rick Howard, Mike Carroll, like Mark Johnson.
Totally.
It's just like
Do you
it's
still
crazy.
Yeah. I was gonna say it still feels, I think, probably surreal. Like a lot of times that you not only ended up in that position, but then somehow find yourself sitting right there where you are right now.
I mean,
You're
dude.
like, how the hell did I get here?
It's crazy.
I have no idea, dude. I don't even know how I'm going to get out of here. Trust me. Always looking for an exit, man. No, I'm just kidding. No, but it's a part of the journey, I guess. Nobody knows where we're going to end up. And me and Raj just start a podcast.
Yeah.
How many episodes are we in, Raj? 300, almost 400 episodes?
It's like
328.
328, 329, bro.
Wow. That's impressive.
Sliding
man.
through.
That's impressive.
First of all, Aaron Snyder, dude. Appreciate you. Listen,
Snyder
we got
man.
a couple. Snyder man does whatever a Snyder
Pretty
can,
sure
you know what I'm saying?
Tone was the one that
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
yeah?
pretty sure it was Tone.
Bro, it's a great. First of all, we got. Here's some socks for you, dude. 9 Club socks,
nice.
some stance socks right there. Keep your
right.
little toes warm when you're editing. We got a shirt for you, dude. 9 Club,
Nice.
the collegiate,
Yeah, collegiate
Boom.
style.
9 Club shirt
yeah.
right there. All this is available on 9club.com. Just to let you guys know. Look at this 9 Club
Oh,
mug.
wow, that's nice.
You coffee guy,
Hell yeah.
tea guy. There you go.
Coffee.
Coffee. Okay. And editing gets you thirsty, man. Keep hydrated with the 9 Club Yeti thermos right there. And these might come in handy for your
okay.
editing. You got the Skull Candy Crusher ANC 2s.
I think those will work.
These
There
will
you
work,
go.
man. These are beautiful, man.
All
They're
right.
Bluetooth and wired, I believe. So
Oh.
take your choice right there.
I
Thank you,
prefer
sir.
wired.
Yeah.
You prefer wired?
Yeah,
Yeah. For working. Got to keep it close.
for sure.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Dude,
Thank you.
Aaron,
Yeah.
it's been a pleasure,
Been
dude.
great,
Hey, the door's
dude.
always open. Come back anytime, dude.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Absolute pleasure. It's been a great time.